It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Stacy, Jeff, and Ant are all here. We'll talk about Galaxy S22 Ultra, Samsung's biggest phone yet. The International Space Station coming to Earth somewhere near you. Jeff's got a great story about the last time that happened. And Mark Zuckerberg and team considering leaving Europe. It's all coming up next. A quick reminder, by the way, it's time for our annual audience survey. The survey helps us understand you better, helps us with advertisers, but it also helps us do content that you like. If you want to help, it'll only take a few minutes. Just go to twit.tv/survey22. It's our 2022 Twit survey once a year. Completely voluntary, but it sure would help. Thanks in advance. Now, on with the show.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 650, recorded Wednesday, February 9th, 2022. Theoreticals upon hypotheticals. This Week in Google is brought to you by Streak. Whether you're tracking sales, fundraising, hiring, or doing support, Streak is a CRM that will help you stay on top of all your processes directly inside Gmail. Get 20% off your first year of their Pro plan, their most popular option, by going to streak.com/twig. And by HackerRank. It's time to reboot your technical interviews with HackerRank's easy-to-use tools. With a pre-made question library, code playback, and built-in whiteboard, you'll be conducting better technical interviews and instantly identifying the right talent. Go to hackerrank.com/twig to start a better tech interview for free today. And by Melissa. The U.S. Postal Service processes more than 98,000 address changes every day. Make sure your customer contact data is up to date. Try Melissa's APIs in the developer portal. It's easy to log on, sign up, and start playing in the API sandbox 24/7. Get started today with 1,000 records cleaned for free at melissa.com/twit. It's time for Twig. I had to think. What show am I doing? This is time for Twig. This Week in Google, a show where we get together and chit-chat about all sorts of stuff with Stacy Higginbotham from StacyOnIoT.com, GigaStacy on the Twitter. Hello, Stacy.
Hello. I always have this like 80s sitcom moment where I'm like, hi, everybody.
It is. It's very much. Can you throw your hat in the air and change the world with your smile? That would be awesome. You are kind of the Mary Tyler Moore of this show, which means Jeff Jarvis is the Lou Grant of the show.
Mary.
Jeff Jarvis is here, Leonard Tao Professor for Journalistic Innovation at the Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York, and our very own. You're a little curmudgeonly. You've always been. Your name was, he's glowering at me. Your name was invoked on the Tech Guy show. We were talking about the fact that the International Space Station is going to be deorbited and into the ocean. And, of course, the famous story. And since Ann hasn't heard it, I'm going to introduce Ann, and then I'm going to let you tell that story.
Okay, all right, tell the story.
Is also here from Hands-On Photography.
And aged out of that conversation, apparently.
Aged out completely, as both you and Stacy are too young to remember this. But Ann also is the content manager. Actually, we call him the membership. What do you call it? What do we call it?
He doesn't manage content.
Community.
He manages people and relationships and love.
The guy in our club, Club Twit, and you have arranged.
He's the love manager.
A fun event for this Friday. Mm-hmm. The love manager has arranged for on the Love Boat.
He's the Gastronomad Experience.
Yes.
Featuring Mr. Mike Elgin, hosted by you, the Chief Twit, on Friday.
And the Mira will be here
11th,
too. Yep.
4 p.m. Pacific.
It's going to be exciting.
Yep.
It's going to be exciting. So, Ant, in 1979, were you born? No, you weren't even.
Oh, don't, Jesus, don't do that to me.
Were you born?
I was born.
You were born, but you were like one.
I won't say how old I was, but I was born.
Stacy was not.
I was born, but wait, 1973?
9.
Oh, 9. Yes, I was born. I was 1.
And You were too young probably to read the San Francisco Examiner. However, I was
not able to read.
Devoted fan.
I'm surprised, Stacey. I thought you were quite ahead of your class.
Advanced.
Yes.
Tell us the story, because Skylab. Go ahead.
Well, Skylab was a satellite that was up there with astronauts working it up ahead of the International Space Station, and it had its day, and was going to come back to Earth, and there was much nervousness about where it was going to come, and NASA was saying no problem at all. We got it in control, but still there was some nervousness. And I worked on the San Francisco Examiner, which was right across the hall from the San Francisco Chronicle in a joint publishing agreement, and we shared the same composing room. So we weren't supposed to be at all in each other's business, but of course we're nosy journalists. So I went out there and I saw that they had a promotion coming up for Skylab Insurance. That if a subscriber to the Chronicle got hit by falling pieces of Skylab and lost their life or limb, they would get money from the Chronicle. And this was going to break on, I think, the Monday or something.
And by the way, this is mostly a joke because the Earth is mostly water, and the chance of you being hit by the Skylab is pretty slim. So it's a safe bet. And a lot of newspapers did this. This is a very common promotion.
So we thought, we said, how can we beat the Chronicle to this? And we talked about it. And I said, why don't we do a reward for bringing us a piece of Skylab? $10,000 reward bringing us a piece of Skylab. The city editor, Jim Wills, he said, it's great. And the other said, yeah, it's great. So we had to go to the publisher, a guy named Reg Murphy, who became my bête noire, and tried to talk him into it. And he made me call NASA to say, what are the odds this is falling on land? I don't want to give up any money. You get their guarantee. And I called NASA.
Let alone, the United States, because you had one additional caveat, which it had to be.
They had to arrive at the offices of the San Francisco Examiner by a certain time. After
you had 72 hours.
Like that, right?
To get to the Chronicle or the Examiner.
So the Examiner, yes. So I called NASA. They said, yeah. I said, by the way, just in case we do get it, will you verify that the stuff we got is real? Will you certify it? Oh, sure, because that's not going to happen. Yeah, no problem. Right. So then it came down to Earth. It fell in Australia.
Western Australia.
Around Perth, Western Australia, sparsely populated Western Australia, around Perth. Very few, but a young beer truck driver helper named Stan Thornton and his mate picked up these black pieces of charcoal. Now, meanwhile, a radio station in Australia, because he had to come to our office in San Francisco to get the $10,000. Well, a radio station in Australia did a whole big campaign that they were going to pay for anybody to get to our offices to get the damn money from the Yanks. So, in fact, young Stan, who was 17 years old, flies to Sydney, flies to us, makes it like within an hour.
He didn't bring a passport. He didn't bring a suitcase. He just hopped on.
Yeah. And he said he's a miner. So he arrives at our offices with this baggie with black charcoal things.
I got it right here.
Yeah. And so
there's my $10,000.
We do pictures in the front of the building and all that. Stan arrives at the airport. Stan gets in. He makes it in time. So then we have to get the stuff certified. Meanwhile, the managing editor, David Halverson, was concerned for Stan. He was a kid. He had no suitcase. He had nothing. So they take in Stan they basically adopt him for like 10 days. So then somebody had to go to Alabama, to NASA, to get them to certify. So we sent Steve Cook, an editor who was later at the LA Times, to NASA in Huntsville, and they took it seriously. They had to analyze it, and they couldn't figure out what it was. They said, well, this doesn't look like anything on Skylab. This is organic. There's nothing on Skylab.
Oh, no.
And they thought, and they said, well, it could be astronaut poop, but we don't think so.
I didn't hear this part of the story.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. They finally determined that it was balsa wood in the insulation of the Skylab. And so we then gave $10,000 to, you're going to hear a few more things you hadn't before. So we gave $10,000 to Stan. Meanwhile, a Philadelphia rug merchant, literally a rug merchant, wanted to jump on the bandwagon of all this publicity. So he offered Stan, a house full of furnishings and a trip to Philadelphia to see the Liberty Bell, right? And we said, Stan, we don't think it's a good idea. And Stan said, no, mate. And he brought in his mother and his girlfriend.
Oh, my God.
And they went to Philadelphia, right? And then, sometime later, hey, guys, not paying me. Can you help? I said, Stan, we tried to warn you, man. So Stan goes back to Australia. Now, meanwhile, I got lots of attention. Now, I made a point of always wearing 3-piece suits because I was so embarrassed at this. I tried to look dignified. And a kid in a 3-piece suit does not look dignified, by the way. And so I got tons of publicity, right? I was on TV all over and everything. Reg Murphy, the publisher, was very jealous of this. He was not happy that I was getting more publicity, and he'd given up the $10,000. He proceeded to make my life pretty damn miserable with the help of Dianne Feinstein's husband, Dick Bloom, who they didn't like me anyway because I would once in a while criticize Feinstein. They made my life a living hell, and I eventually quit to come to New York and conquer Gotham and work for People magazine. And the day after I quit, Murphy quit. End of story.
I remember you saying you got in a little bit of trouble for this. Like you had promised there's no way we're going to be giving away $10,000.
But he got so much more than $10,000 publicity for this. Oh Lord, it was all over. And radio in San Francisco was doing it all the time, and Stan was getting interviewed, and I was getting interviewed. It was embarrassing fun. It was the last gasp of old newspapering. Right, old kind of Hearst newspapering.
Yeah, because in those days you had the morning paper, the Chronicle, and the afternoon paper, the Examiner, and you guys were fighting. Yeah, even if you were.
We had separate owners. Oh yeah,
yeah. Hearst owned Examiner. Who owned? Oh, the Chronicle was the Young.
The Chronicle,
family.
The Young family, right?
Yeah.
And then, as you know, you in San Francisco know, when the Young got out and Hearst bought it, they had to keep the Examiner going in some form, and they took over the Chronicle name because it was the bigger name by far. But the Examiner was old William Randolph Hearst's first paper. It was, it meant something in the company, and they gave it up, which is kind of a shame.
Yeah, they turned it into a kind of dopey tabloid, weekly tabloid. It was very sad. I liked the Examiner. It was a great newspaper. Anyway, that may happen again because the space station is going to be in 2035. So you've got a little time to save up for that.
Are they going to take it apart and bring it down, or
they're going to crash it in the Indian Ocean?
Wow.
But they think
kind of sad.
The problem with Skylab, was it the Pacific, not the Indian? The problem with the Skylab was that they hadn't planned for this, so they didn't have any way to kind of aim it on its way in. So it was an unplanned, unscheduled demise. But with the ISS, they know.
So recently, I'd never heard from Stan, and then I got 2 people calling me wanting to do kind of the story of Skylab and Stan. I spent time with him. Nothing ever happened with it. But through that, I got connected with Stan again and emailed with each other, which was kind of fun.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And that guy, by the way, Stan is now a 65-year-old retiree living in Huntsville, Alabama. So it goes completely full circle. Samsung announced this morning, bright and early, thank you, Jason Howell, for actually coming in on the air, 7 a.m. our time, a phone that everybody already knew everything about. In fact, Samsung had already encouraged existing owners to pre-order weeks ago. So this was not a surprise. The Samsung Galaxy S22, the S22 Plus, and of most interest, I think, to us, the S22 Ultra, not because it's the most expensive, but because it is, in fact, the Galaxy Note, which they had killed. But not only does it look just like a Note, it's got a stylus. Doesn't that look like the Note to you? It's big. It's, I think, 6.8 inches. And it's impossible to buy. Samsung opened pre-orders today, and Jason Howell and I and many others, Russell, our IT guy, we've all been banging on the site trying to get in. I finally just ordered it from Verizon and
nice job DDoSing them.
Yeah, are we DDoSed or what? Something bad happened. I don't know. 6.8-inch screen, built-in S Pen, boatload of cameras, 4 cameras on the back, a very high-quality selfie cam, because after all, we know that's the most important thing.
That's the one that matters, right?
That's what matters. They're doing that 100x zoom again, optical, which, is it 10x optical? No. It's 10x optical. Yeah. 3x. They've got 4 lenses. I would think you'd want this, Ann, actually. Does 45-watt fast charging. Small battery, though, 5,000 milliamp hour battery. Does support Wi-Fi 6E, the latest, as well as 5G.
Are 4 cameras, is that 5 blades on your razor, or is it functional?
It's exactly. Perfect analogy.
No, that's perfect. Yeah.
Perfect analogy.
Okay.
So you get 108 megapixel main camera. 108, probably by pixel shifting, right?
Yeah.
Binning.
Pixel binning. Yeah. Don't buy into it.
Yeah, it's not really. 3x and 10x telephoto cameras, two of them, two lenses, a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and then on the front, you get a 40 megapixel selfie camera. What is the real, do you know on these, when they do the spinning, is it 1/4 of that? Is it really 10 megapixels times 4?
It's usually 1/4.
Yeah. So they're going to do the night mode. A lot of, all to compete with I think the unfortunate benighted Pixel 6 Pro, which is really, I think, Google says it's sold better than any phone they've ever made, but we don't know.
That's not saying much considering they never sold a lot anyway.
Yeah. We don't know what that means. And still people are complaining even after the February update just came out, and they're still complaining about some features. How's yours? And I know you weren't happy with the Pixel reading and all that.
The phone is still fine. It's just the operating system.
This is where he screams, it's the software!
Yeah.
It's the
means they could
operating
fix
system.
it. Yeah.
And this last update, I did it a couple of days ago for the February one, and I still had a Bluetooth drop this morning on my way to the studio. Just random Bluetooth drop.
Yeah. Well, that's normal.
Not me. T-shirt that says, I still hate Android 12. And he can just wear it after every update and be like, not working.
I like the phone. If you want me to sit down with it and go through Lightroom Mobile on it and process photos, great for that. You want me to hop into Premiere Rush and do a little quick Instagram reel, great for that. If you want me to just go out and shoot footage of the hardheads doing some training in slow-mo, it's great for that. But the OS, just not my thing.
Now, I'm curious because Jeff might be interested in this. They also announced their new tablet, the S8 Ultra, with a giant screen. It's really a laptop pretending to be.
No, I wanted my Nexus 7 inches, fits in the jacket pocket, fits in the back pocket. I want that.
I kind of with you. I have a 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and I end up using the Mini because it is just a little bit nicer. So, well, it's where I'm using it and stuff like that. I don't want to, and that's the problem. It's a laptop. It's a 14.6-inch screen, 2960 by 1848, 240 pixels an inch. Like the phones, it has 120 hertz refresh. The phones actually go even faster. So it's a little lower resolution than a 12.9-inch iPad Pro, but that's because it's a bigger screen. Mm-hmm. And they are, I think, if you buy right away, they bundle the keyboard with it. But it's still it's not cheap. It's a very expensive device. I think $1,100-$1,200 is a starting price, competing kind of head-to-head against Apple's iPad Pro. There's a pen, yes. That's a big difference. It comes with a pen and keyboard, so that does save you money.
How big is the screen again?
14 point something.
That's what confuses me about their branding.
It's
the 8. I think it's the 8, and I think it's going to be 8 inches.
No. Sorry, 14.6. It's a laptop screen. It's bigger than a lot of laptops, actually.
Yeah.
So that begs the question: why not just get a laptop?
Well, yeah. I think this has always been the problem with Android tablets is the software is just not there compared to, say, iOS. This one has DeX built into it, which is weird because DeX was originally, the idea was you take a Samsung phone, you dock it, and now you have a screen, keyboard, and mouse, and it's a computer using the CPU on the phone. But DeX kind of works on the tablet like another operating system because it's like a computer screen. I think it's going to be interesting. That's such a big screen. It's really more a laptop than it is a tablet.
Thing is, Samsung has done well in both of those areas.
They make very nice
Android
laptops,
side of the phones as well as the Android side of tablets. You don't really see any other Android tablets out there that aren't Samsung.
One of the things they talked about in the event, by the way, you can watch the entire stream of the event on our Twit news feed with Jason Howell. One of the things they talked about was you can shoot 4K video with this, and it has a micro SD slot up to 1 terabyte. So unlike the iPads, Apple's never equipped the iPads with their best cameras. Samsung is equipping these laptops with their best cameras. So they show people taking pictures with this giant laptop and stuff like that.
Gives you a bigger viewfinder, but I don't know.
It is kind of cool, but it's a little ungainly.
Is that a function of like remote work, do you think? Like I might be actually trying to work on this. And
I think it's Samsung.
See that?
It's a function of Samsung throwing everything against the wall they can to try to compete in a field that is completely dominated by Apple's iPad.
Well, they have the resources for it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to beat the iPad, how are you going to beat it? You're not going to beat it on software. I mean, they showed a drawing program and stuff. You're going to beat it on hardware. And so cameras is one way to beat it, including a keyboard and pen. It's also competing, by the way, against Microsoft Surface, which is kind of the same idea. We have a tablet with a detachable keyboard and pen that kind of is like a tablet computer.
a lot of people like, if you're in the Windows ecosystem, a lot of people like the Surface Pro.
They love it.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
They love it. Yeah. So
I wonder what Kevin will think of the Tab, because it's not a Chromebook. It's not a Chromebook, but it is designed to kind of, I think, eat away at that market as well. The S8 is $700.
Considering no type of terminal access unless you install some terminal.
Oh, I'm sure there's Android terminal apps. There are on iOS. Yeah, that's right. He likes the terminal, doesn't he? Yeah.
I was about to say.
No, Leo, no.
Kevin goes
Don't do
to
it.
terminal.
Leo.
No, have I showed you how great the terminal is lately? Did you know you could play Wordle on the terminal?
I think I'll pass, sir. Think I'll pass.
Anyway, I think it's interesting. And of course, both Google and Microsoft are kind of partners in this. They talked a lot about Microsoft, with your phone, and it works with Windows on the phone and so forth. And here's Google's keyword blog, unpacking 7 features on the latest Samsung Galaxy devices, which is not something you'd ever really expect to see from Google.
Google.
Yeah.
That's good.
But as Samsung showed in the event, it works with Google Duo. You can Duo, and it works with a Jamboard, which is kind of interesting. Robert Kinsel, who runs YouTube for Google, I can't remember. He's a content guy. I can't remember what exact title, but he was actually part of the Samsung event. You could preview YouTube videos on Messages by Google on the Samsung. Optimized for accessibility with voice access, which is great for people who need accessibility. They're saying it uses Material You. Aren't you happy?
Yay.
Yay. Easy to set up Google Play apps on your Galaxy Watch 4. That's another thing. Samsung talked about a watch using, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, I think that it looked to me like they were showing an Android Wear version of the watch. The new Galaxy Watch is kind of a hybrid ties-in Wear thing, so I was just confused by that. Google Assistant is finally going to come to the Samsung Watch 4. It did not have the Assistant. In fact, it still doesn't, but it's going to be soon. YouTube Music Premium will work on the watch. So Google's kind of acting as if,
It's like they want to play together now, right?
Yeah.
Remember, they didn't want it. When Samsung would do these unpacked presentations, they would never even say the word Android.
Remember they wouldn't say the A word. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Oof.
Jason says that the Watch 4 is Wear 3. So it's that that's a version that's a collaboration between Google and Samsung.
Is that the first instance of that collaborative?
Well, that watch came out earlier. I have it. It came out with the Flip, I think. The Flip 3. The phone that is now going to be Stacy's.
And the crowd goes wild.
Isn't that exciting? Because I bought the S22 Ultra so that I can review it. I did it for you. And I think I think it's time for Stacy to have this weird.
And Stacy's doing it all for herself.
Well, you wanted a small you wanted a small phone. I hope the dog's happy. You wanted a small phone. Yeah, see? I knew he was. Oh God, we're getting a Flip 3. We're getting a Flip 3. Woo!
The dog's excited.
Something
and
new
I
to
have
chew.
the garbage
Very
truck
excited
behind me.
about the phone. Yes.
I will send it off today. I'll have to take my SIM out, but I will send it off and I'll wipe it and I'll send it off.
Okay. Well, there's no rush. Please do not.
Well, I know. Actually, I was hoping because I had waited. You mentioned you wanted a folding phone, and I mentioned maybe I would send you mine. I was hoping you would have forgotten that by now. and bought it. But no, apparently not. So I guess I will send it to you now.
You don't have to send it, please.
No, you said it. No. We run.
Oh goodness. Yeah, there's someone, I think there's like somebody, a physical person.
Do you want to go
in the
down
house.
and see what that is? There's a physical person in the house. Stacy, bring us with you. That sounds dangerous. Leave your microphone on. Oh my God. They're in the house. All right. I think anyway, if you want to watch the whole event.
Do you have our addresses? Like if I conked out right now and went unconscious, could you call the ambulance for me?
That's actually a really good question. Do you have my address?
Yes, Lisa has all of our addresses.
Those.
Yeah, but where's Lisa?
Good.
I'd have to find Lisa, and then I have to say, quick, Jeff's dying.
I think she's somewhere setting a Mini Cooper on fire.
Yeah.
Oh no! What's the latest with her Mini Cooper?
So for those of you who haven't heard this long,
I'm sorry to derail us, but I had to.
Lisa was really excited. She and I feel bad because just between us, she named it. She called it Pepper.
Pepper, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, bright red, and then she loved this car. 800. There she is. Hi. No, we're not talking about you. No. 850.
We summoned her.
She said, "I have their addresses."
Oh, okay. Thank you, Lisa. Yes. You'll save my life.
Lisa, could you put it on a card and give it to John so that we can call 911 if Jeff keels over?
I don't know what made me think of this, but I thought of it.
That's really
an old
good
guy.
point.
Yeah, it actually
That's a
is.
good point.
Because you'd be frustrated.
Oh, it'd be horrible. We'd see you dying on the floor, and we go, "What can we do? What can we do?" She says she's going to do that. We go,
The
"What
best thing you should have actually is Jeff's wife's cell phone number.
Right, contact address. But she might not be there.
But what if he can't find Lisa? And Lisa can't find her.
See, it all comes down to the wife. You can't find the wife, you're dead.
And get rid of us at last.
Imagine Jeff's lying on that beautiful Oriental rug. He's dying. He's foaming at the mouth. And we're going, I think he lives near Bedminster. Quick, call 911. He's in New Jersey.
Somewhere around there's a tall guy.
We wouldn't know what to do. And then imagine the people watching the show after the fact, hours later. Traumatized.
I know what to do. I would be like, okay, find Lisa. Call the ambulance. She's got the address. Get his wife's address.
Stacey, this came up out of concern for you as you walked away. And Leo was saying, what if there's somebody in your house? What do we do?
Yeah, turn on your mic.
It was actually out of concern for you that I brought this up.
Don't we care? We care. We care.
I'll care way too much. You know what?
Sometimes.
There's someone who watches the show live who actually lives on Bainbridge Island.
So they'd come running over. What about San Juan Island? Could we live there? Would that be a good place to live? Lisa looked at that this morning. Yeah.
You know, do you need to get no, because y'all said y'all wanted access to like medicine and stuff, and the ferries are a little awkward.
That's out.
I'm just
No, it's funny
because we are concerned about keeling over. Yes,
Lisa and I had that conversation this morning. I said, "Well, if I die, I die. But it'd be nice to live somewhere." It's like just across from lovely. Victoria. It's like practically in Canada.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. It's kind of cold and wet, and you know what? You can actually get helicopter insurance or helicopter service.
Yeah, medevac. So, yeah. Well, that's what I told her. I said, look, I'm not going to have a stroke or a heart attack because that's all that really matters. If you have a stroke or a heart attack, time to hospital is really, really important. But if you just broke your leg, big deal, right? So
I think there's probably urgent care on the island.
That's got to be. There's got to be somebody to give you mouth to mouth. There's got to be.
For a leg, yeah.
It's called a husky.
Bring in the Huskies, boys. I think he's dead. Moving on.
Speaking of dead things. Speaking of dead things, I've got two dead things to talk about.
Ant, you're becoming an instigator, Ant.
My bad.
I am busting you. It used to be you tried to keep the show on purpose, on track, right? I remember that. You'd say, it's time for the ad, things like that. Now it's like you're just throwing fuel on the fire.
Because now he's the social guy. So just like Facebook, he wants more conflict and attention. You see? That's what does it to you.
It's all great content. It's all great content.
Yeah. Can I talk about one of my two dead things or both of them?
Please, go ahead.
My Pixelbook Go.
Dead? Didn't you just get that?
Yes, in November. And I was just walking out and suddenly screen went bing. No warning, no better anything, no nothing. Went through the whole Megillah. And then so I got to go through the Megillah and Megillah and Megillah and Megillah. They say, yes, it is dead. But then in the old days, Google would say, we'll get a new one out to you and send it back, and then we'll give you a credit. It'll be fine. No more.
Supply chain.
Now I had to wait 3 days for them to agree with their tech guy that it was dead. Like they should give him that authority. I had to be escalated to the undertaker who said, yes, that's officially dead. And then I finally got the RMA. And then today I got to send it back, and I got to wait till they get it. But they say, yeah, it looks dead to me. Look dead to you. Yeah, it looks dead. And then they're going to send me the new one back.
God.
That's not the Google I knew.
That sounds like pretty standard operating procedures, though.
Yeah.
But Google wasn't like that.
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to mention that's dead.
I was going to bring this up. Entertainment Weekly, which you started, EW. You were there at the beginning. Meredith, which is the parent corporation, got sold, right?
Time Inc. went into Meredith, and Meredith sold to Barry Diller's Dotdash, the content factory.
And Barry Diller has announced
6 magazines.
They are going to kill well, there'll be digital versions, but they're going to kill the print versions. Entertainment Weekly.
That's like saying we live on in purgatory after a keel over in the show. Yeah.
Yeah. PC Magazine is digital only. It's like it doesn't exist. Yeah. InStyle, Eating Well,
which was InStyle was extremely successful.
Loved InStyle. Well, these were all successful, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Health, Parents, and People on Espanol. I guess People will continue. Dot dash Meredith. That's the name of the company. Dot dash Meredith. That's terrible. That's terrible. That's as bad as Trunk. Is going to put the 200 job losses. Sorry, although that's only 5% of Dot dash Meredith's total staff. All 6 magazines would have their final issue in April. EW was a great magazine. I didn't know you at the time. I subscribed to that when it first started.
Bless you.
I used it. Well, at the time I was a DJ and I needed like celebrity tidbits, and it was a great source for that.
If you, so happens, I'm writing a project right now. I'll talk about it another time, but on magazines, and I was writing the chapter on the launch. The first time I was telling the story of the launch of EW, and then the announcement came out. If you go to my Twitter feed, you will see some of the things from my files, including my proposal for it originally, the junk mail and fake covers we had to make, the cover that Cosby used to send me hate mail, and finally a top editor of all of Time Inc. who said just as we had become an entertainment company with Warner Brothers that we were being too mean to Hollywood, he calculated the grade point average of our reviews in the magazine.
Wow.
It was hell. I walked out soon thereafter. Yeah. Thank you for my little morning.
So this is the question, I guess, this leads to. We're seeing this digital transformation everywhere. CNN, really? Really? He says. I know, it seems like obvious, doesn't it? A little bit of a jejune observation from your host. CNN
June,
Plus.
That's you.
Is coming. Jejune or us. That's me. CNN Plus going streaming. CBS is already streaming. Digital seems to. Is it? Should we ring the death knell for print? And I guess the secondary question, did Barry Diller blow it when he paid $2.7 billion for Meredith less than a year ago?
Yes.
As long as I still see the press Democrat out here in Sonoma County, I guess print is still fine because somebody is still paying for that stuff.
Ironically, I am trying desperately to find a way not to get the print version of the New York Times. I want all the digital stuff, but I keep getting the big old Sunday Times because I can't figure out any other way to get the whole Megillah.
I get the New York Times without a print paper.
Do you get the crosswords, cooking, Wordle?
I get cooking.
You get all that stuff. How do you get rid of the paper?
I need?
I don't want the paper.
Just signed up for a digital subscription.
Maybe I'm just too stupid to do it. But
you probably have to call them.
I don't know. It wasn't hard. Oh, you know what it is? Maybe they asked for my birth date and they didn't even try to send it.
You, my friend,
he doesn't remember Skylab. Anybody who doesn't remember Skylab gets it all together. Yes,
exactly.
Here's well played. Here's these GPAs from your notebook. Good Lord, what an ass. Although,
what does he say? What out there?
You'll be getting your report card a little later today.
What's out there worth? Oh, I forgot. I can't remember.
Oh, the writing here. What's out there makes you
wonder why so many folks are still going to the movies. His argument was our critic gave Pretty Woman a negative review.
Oh, I see. The GPA is the bad grades.
Is the bad grades. So we gave 6 below C-. He actually calculated this.
And so he's saying, hey, if all these movies are so bad, why are people still going to them?
Right. And it's your job to like what the public likes and not be a critic, which was against the whole idea of the magazine.
Right.
And critics in general. I mean, yeah.
So you say you tweet it, so I don't know how serious it is. Is this a nail in the coffin for print? I mean, is this just one more nail in the coffin?
Oh, it's another one. It's another one. Yeah. The coffin's heavy with lead.
And yet I went to a bookstore the other day, and there's a whole 4 or 5 shelves of print magazines.
Oh, there's more titles than ever. Things like there's a new pickleball magazine, right? That kind of stuff. But there is.
I can get it for Andrew for Valentine's Day. Okay.
Oh, there you go. By the way,
are you going to shop while we're on the show here, Stacey? Are you going to go do that? I'll help you out.
No, I'm writing it down.
I bought that cocktail mixer that you recommended for Lisa's birthday.
It's not good.
It's not good?
It's not good.
Shh, don't tell her. What's wrong with it? You told me to buy it.
Somebody turn off the studio speakers.
I hadn't tried it yet.
Does it leak?
The very top bit in mine leaks. Oh, but I sent them an email and they said they're figuring it out. Because I was like,
oh, they even know about it. Oh, that's
I was like, is there like maybe a gasket missing? Because mine leaks. And I think they're going to probably try to send me a new one.
Mine came with a little baggie of extra gaskets. So maybe that's why.
Yes, mine did too.
Oh, no. Okay.
But that's why. But it doesn't come with the top gasket.
No.
So, yeah, because when I bought it, I didn't try it yet because it was a gift. But having now tried it, I can't remember.
Of course, I actually bought it on that show that you mentioned. And I said, oh,
I know. And I told you not to. I said, wait, no, I haven't tried it.
It was a Kickstarter or something, right?
A long time ago was.
Yeah.
There's 2 pickleball magazines, Stacey. There's 2 pickleball magazines. You get to choose. You get to get them both.
Get them both.
Yeah.
If you're going to subscribe to a pickleball magazine, might as well get both of them.
Yeah, because you might miss something otherwise.
Other than Miss Stacey getting 2 pickleball magazines, who else is actually getting print stuff?
Well, yeah, let me explain this, Jeff, because you said there's more titles than ever before.
What's that mean? More of this niche stuff. They come and go. You know what? Okay, here's a quiz. What are the top 2 magazines in circulation in the United States now?
People?
They come from the same place. Nope.
ARP magazine.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Bingo. Ding, ding, ding.
ARP. Yeah.
And you know what the number 4 top magazine in the country is? So Better Homes and Gardens is number 3. You want to guess what number 4 is?
What?
Costco.
Sports Illustrated.
Oh, my God. But that's just because they send it to
magazine?
everybody, right?
Yeah.
You don't subscribe to it.
Yeah.
Right. But it has more circulation than...
Now I feel kind of bad. I blew off the AARP magazine.
You could have been part of the mass.
Well, I remember. Did I tell you this story? They asked me to write stuff for them, and then I got very confusing instructions from 2 different editors. One who said "smarten it up" and one who said "dumb it down."
Oh,
and I found
that meant your copy was perfect.
Oh man,
23.6 million readers. No,
wow,
that's subscribers. 36.8 million. Readers, but I get, you know what? That's a little, I get it because I'm in it and I don't read it. So I don't know. I think a lot of people probably get it because if you join WAAP,
Stacey will never get it because it'll be gone by the time Stacey's our age.
That's right.
No, I think, how old do you have to be for ARP? 50?
In your 50s, 50 plus, yeah.
Oh, okay. It'll be
at one time there was a whole, at least for me, there was a nostalgia around print media. You know, something would happen like,
what's your favorite magazine? What do you miss, Ant? Is there a magazine you wish you could get?
I used to love, surprise, surprise, ESPN's magazine.
Not Sports Illustrated. It was better?
I thought they were better than Sports Illustrated back in the day.
Did it die, Ant?
Of course, that one. Yeah, it went away.
Yeah.
But then there was also newspapers. I used to enjoy picking up newspapers on certain events. You know, I still have the newspaper from when Dale Earnhardt was killed in the race. Stuff like that. It was sentimental to me, but now I think people don't really care about getting things like that just from a sentimental value. I don't know.
What do you miss, Stacey? Is there a magazine that you?
I don't miss it because I still subscribe to it, but I subscribe to the New Yorker.
But I don't get the.
It's one of those.
I subscribe, but I don't get the print version. It's a great magazine.
I get the print version because I need a break from.
Right.
I feel like
Screens.
I can't read the New Yorker in print because it requires so much depth.
Yeah.
But their app is actually pretty good because they add all this
excellent.
extra stuff.
And in fact,
so it's kind of tough.
That's why I stopped getting the print magazine, because it made me feel guilty that I didn't get to it. So with the digital, out of sight, out of mind. But I also subscribe to the Atlantic.
What do you miss?
Used to get it. I missed. You remember heavy metal? You don't remember heavy metal? You know what I'm talking about? I know our chat room remembers heavy metal. John remembers heavy metal. It was a kind of like a comic magazine, but it had incredible, really beautiful. They call it the adult illustrated fantasy magazine, but it wasn't adult like
so
Playboy was adult. It was adult like, well, it was a little adult apparently.
I was about to say. I was like, I'm looking at this and I'm like,
no, it was a really great magazine. I actually really miss it. Incredible.
I miss
art.
my fantasy. Like I had a science fiction. I don't remember which science fiction story. Like it was a magazine. But
Was it a pulp?
Well done. It wasn't a pulp because it was a full size magazine size, but it had the beautiful art in there plus the stories.
Yeah, this was kind of like that.
You know what I still get, which is not print. I should show it to you. So I get McSweeney's.
Oh, I get McSweeney's too. That's great.
Do you have the audio issue? Did you love that? Were you not
I haven't heard the audio issue. Oh,
okay.
I will get
I may
it.
just have to go get it at some point in time and show y'all because they did really neat things. They have okay, I'm not going to.
That was started by Dave Eggers. And it's a kind of a literary magazine, but they have some very funny stuff.
Oh my God. It's so
you can go get it. You just have to let us know what your home address is on the way.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Up. The ambulance is calling. They just want to know. Wait a minute.
Are you
Jeff?
okay? You still alive?
Wait a minute, Jeff, is your ringtone a ring?
Well, it's better.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah. Because I'm an old
Or it's like, is that like a Bakelite handset with the big...
That's the Bell South one.
Give me
You got a problem with that, Stacey? You got a problem with that?
Southern
Give
Bell
me
ring.
Central. Operator? Hello, operator.
Do you get the McSweeney's print magazine? Is that what you're talking about?
Okay.
So I'm doing the internet tenancy deal,
This is the internet. This is McSweeney's 60. So it's a big old story magazine.
Oh, that's nice.
And then they've got photo essays in there. I'm apparently not hitting any of the photo essays. Okay.
Yep.
Y'all keep
That's a lot
talking
to
about
read.
death of print. No, it's gorgeous.
But that's what people have said, is that these kinds of, dare I say, twee items will become luxury items.
Yes, absolutely.
They're commonplace, but the newspaper, the magazines, that's a luxury magazine. Look at it; it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Probably very expensive.
I'm coming back with the other one. I have to show y'all this since we're talking about this.
So if you're not back in
Meanwhile,
30 seconds, we're calling the cops.
I shall read from McSweeney's February edition, the Dungeon and Dragons Monster Manual entry for your child. If your child were a character in Dungeons and Dragons, who would it be? That's the kind of trenchant writing I love.
Well, you know what I missed then? Spy.
Spy, same thing. This is like
Spy's
Spy.
great.
This is what your favorite sad dad band says about you.
Oh, McSweeney. Yeah, these are fun.
We'll go.
So those are their comedy ones. But okay,
That's very
here's
funny.
the audio issue.
Oh, look
And this
at
is
that.
like the guide.
Is it too
to
late to subscribe to it? That's awesome. Is it cassettes?
Well, let me show you. I'm going to show
would
you
you
what
play
else
them?
in here. So,
You can buy it. I might
You
buy
have to
it.
get a used car.
all right, it comes with the warning on top of the thing. So you have to use this with audio. But it has things like this keychain. If you call this number, they're little stories that you press a button on your phone
so wild.
and you're read a story. So twee.
So this is $85, by the way.
Oh, yeah, my subscription. Well, the subscription.
Oh, you got Nick
is,
Hornby in here, though. I love Nick Hornby. Nick Hornby's songbook.
My annual subscription is like $60 or $100. But this, like, you play on your smartphone and you roll it through as the story's playing.
So this is a perfect example of how print will survive. Is it stuff like this?
Yeah,
but there's
it's
also
very
stories.
small, print.
Yeah,
that makes sense. But like you said, it seems like it's more of a premium experience with a premium price to help them survive.
Oh, it's so fun. When it comes, you're just like, holy I almost cursed, but holy cow, what did McSweeney send me? I mean, look at this. This is like a travel poster. And if you
actually, you can get just the audio for $32, so that's not bad. That is really look at the energy and the creativity and the talent that goes into something like that.
It's just it's awesome.
Yeah,
I just get so.
So what happened when print got watch out history coming? When print got mechanized.
Yeah, because I don't think Gutenberg ever thought of something like this. That's pretty.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
But when the linotype came along, print got mechanized. What you saw at the same time, like in the arts and crafts movement, you saw a movement toward fine print. And people who were still doing hand print magazines with beautiful fonts that they would cut themselves, crazy, really eccentric people doing it. And so the same thing is happening now. As the medium dies, you raise the art level of what's left.
Yeah. Not necessarily a bad tendency. And so what it means is the magazines like Entertainment Weekly, which are really for the people, the masses, just they go away. The masses have gone somewhere else.
Time magazine is unnecessary with the web. Newsweek is a horrible husk of its former self.
Yet when you work at those places, they treat the web like poop.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Well, that's a story old as time, at least as old as the web. They, I mean, when we were doing the site on MSNBC, the website and the TV site hated each other. No, it was like, oil and water, because rightly the old media guys thought that the new media guys were killing them.
Oh well, yeah. You're ruining everything for us. Just shush and go away, and it'll be okay. So I'm writing a book about magazines.
Are you?
Got a contract? Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I'm
Congrats.
doing one, yes.
That is going to be a fascinating read. I can't wait to read it.
That was my journalism major, Jeff.
What?
I said that was my journalism major, Jeff, that I went into magazine journalism.
Cute. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, when we used to pick the medium. Isn't that kind of quaint? I'm a magazine person. I don't write for newsprint. I write for slick paper.
Exactly. I did the ASME internship and everything. I was like, feature writing for the win.
Yeah.
I
you know
love
why
feature writing.
Paper is slick?
Why?
Because the ink doesn't absorb in as much and it doesn't spread, and so you can have more vibrant,
crisper and
photos,
prettier.
Crisper photos.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought it was to hold the drool. That killed the conversation.
Were you going to talk about Playboy?
Right away. I just whoop. But actually, feature writing dying is a symptom of a lot. I mean, there are still, by the way, there's still great feature writing. That's what the New Yorker does. It's what
but far fewer outlets for it.
But they're far, and I think because there are far fewer readers. And I really do wonder if people are going to read long form anything in the years to come. I can't imagine my kids spending time with a 5,000 word article.
I think they have long form podcasts. They have long form.
Well, God knows we do those.
Yeah.
This is the equivalent.
Those aren't even well researched. I mean, my goodness.
Are the new Harper's Monthly.
Little did you know, Stacey, that's really where the feature rating was going.
Exactly.
Endless.
You wouldn't believe this,
blathering.
folks, but this show is scripted. We're all reading a script.
Oh God, yes.
You know?
We spent
this
years.
takes a lot of work going in to write this show.
Oh, we got a whole writer's room and a team.
Oh yeah.
Several trained animals.
All right, take a break. We've been gassing on long enough. Let's talk about our sponsor, and we will get back to Aunt Pruitt, Stacey Higginbotham, Jeff Jarvis. This week in Google, we have mentioned Google a couple of times, so
we have
passing.
We're good in passing, in between the rat holes on magazines and things. Satellites. Our show today brought to you by Streak. This is actually a great solution for anybody who wants to manage their inbox If you're a startup founder, an entrepreneur, if you run a business and email is critical, right? Whether you're tracking sales or fundraising or hiring or support, Streak, S-T-R-E-A-K, is a CRM that will help you, customer relationship manager, that will help you stay on top of all your processes. And it happens right inside Gmail. Right inside Gmail. Use Streak's free email tools to check if your emails have been opened and send bulk emails with automated follow-up emails to improve your response rate. Because it's built inside of Gmail, it's already a part of your everyday workflow. You'll see details about your leads, your customers, your investors right alongside your email. And there's no more switching between Gmail and other tools. It becomes part of Gmail. In fact, Streak was recognized as Google's Technology Partner of the Year and used by thousands of founders and entrepreneurs and small business owners, whether you're prospecting for new customers, raising a fundraising round, growing your team, or managing support tickets. Use Streak's pipelines. This is a really cool feature to track all your processes directly from Gmail. It's easy to set up a pipeline. It takes a couple of minutes. You can customize them. It's a much better, it's kind of like, folders and filtering. You're used to that idea. This is that on steroids. Streak makes it easy to collaborate by automatically sharing emails and notes with everyone on your team. That could be part of your pipeline. I watched Lisa because she lives in email and she lives in Gmail. We use Google Workspace, and I just watched what a difference it makes to have your email in order instead of just a big pile on your desk, which it is, unfortunately, in my email. I miss emails all the time. Try out Streak today. You know what? I'm going to do it. It's free to use on your own, or you can use the Pro. Yeah, it's free. If you use it on your own, or if you want to use it with a team, look at the Pro plan. In fact, we're going to get you 20% off your first year of their Pro plan, which is the most popular option, by going to streak.com/twig. Google's Technology Partner of the Year. STREAK.com/twig for 20% off. I bet Google wishes they had invented it. It's a brilliant idea. You're in Gmail already. Manage it better with Streak. Streak.com/twig. We thank them so much for their support. I got all excited when I read the headline, Mark Zuckerberg considering shutting down Facebook and Instagram. And then I saw, it's only in Europe.
Don't you love those headlines?
And actually, I love it. The German and French ministers said, fine.
Pas de problème.
Pas de problème.
Kein problem.
After being hacked, I've lived without Facebook and Twitter for 4 years, and life has been fantastic. German Economy Minister Robert Habeck told reporters he was standing alongside French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire, who said, I can confirm. Life is very good without Facebook, and we would live very well without Facebook. Digital giants must understand that the European continent will resist and affirm its sovereignty.
Oh, jeez.
So what's happening is, of course, the EU...
Meanwhile, by the way, these people are not standing up to Putin, who's trying to invade nations in Europe, but Facebook is threatening their sovereignty.
There are many kinds of invasion, monsieur. Facebook, the issue is... The EU wants them to store data from EU users on European soil. Facebook says, no. we need that here. We need that data at home. This is the so-called Privacy Shield agreement. The current agreements say, you can transfer data, but the EU is thinking about changing that. And Facebook's response was, well, if you do that, we probably, in quotes, no longer will be able to offer many of our most significant products and services, including Facebook and Instagram in the EU.
So here's a question. Do you think that there's a chance that they actually believe that Metaverse is their future and that Facebook's days are numbered?
That they don't care.
Right. You think they kind of know that's where it's headed? It's too big.
I mean, I think they're betting on the metaverse, but it's not like they're going to just be like, they're not burning their ships.
Well, yeah, right.
I'm
Like
talking
Cortez, right? We can't
Thank
go
you.
home. Yeah. There's several things at work here. I mean, it could simply be they're trying to stare him down. Say, go ahead, playing like a little game of chicken.
Definitely. Yeah.
Go ahead, try it. Because they, sure, the French foreign minister could say, we don't need you, but there are probably millions of Europeans who would not agree. WhatsApp especially, although I bet you Instagram, I don't know how popular Instagram and Facebook. It's also possible they've looked at the bottom line and said, well, it's 100 million euros a month or whatever. We can afford it, and say, we'll just write it off.
Our stock's already in the tank, so what the heck?
Well, yeah, that may actually, wouldn't that change the equation maybe that they can't afford to do that? But yeah, by the way, ironically, the stock tanking is good for Facebook in one respect because they're now under the 600 billion threshold.
Isn't that fascinating? Which is all the regulation is going for.
The U.S. the Congress regulations say, well, it only has to be big tech 600 billion or more, which Facebook no longer is.
Imagine that.
Isn't that funny? That's the number of the week, man.
Yeah. Or you came up with a third kind of wild card possibility that their business is changing and they're willing to let go of this part of the business as long as but even if they do Meta, they still want that data. I mean, no matter what Facebook does, they want that data.
Well, they want the scale, the volume, the advertising. Yeah, I don't know.
But
I think it's a silly theory, but they're almost acting like that. Like, okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sure they want people to think
try
that.
us.
Yeah. Nick Clegg warned, and of course he's known in the EU.
Formerly the EU. Yeah.
Formerly in the area of the EU that's no longer in the EU, warned that, quote, a lack of safe, secure, and legal international data transfers would damage the economy and hamper the growth of data-driven businesses in the EU. The impact would be felt. This is Facebook's playbook. Oh, think of the small businesses.
Think of the same thing in Australia.
Yeah.
Right, where they threatened to pull out news. They did pull out news in Australia. They said, okay, fine. We'll take our toys and go home.
In the worst case scenario, this could mean a small tech startup in Germany would no longer be able to use a US-based cloud provider. Oh, the horror. I think there's probably cloud providers in Germany. I might be wrong. Or at least in the Schengen countries, right? A Spanish product development company could no longer be able to run an operation across multiple time zones. Oh, no. That's BS.
Yeah.
I run an operation over multiple time zones. I don't even step foot outside Petaluma. Nick Clegg said, a French retailer may find they can no longer maintain a call center in Morocco. Well, that may be true. I would bet the EU thinks that's a good thing. Bring them home. Anyway, it's a battle, obviously. This is a salvo in the war. Somebody in the chat room, Mr. Huggy, which obviously that means he's from Belgium, says WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram are very popular in Europe. So.
Of course, WhatsApp is. That's global.
Yeah, I think you pull the plug on WhatsApp anywhere, people will let you know. You lose public support.
Would they spin off WhatsApp without affecting the core business?
They don't want to.
But
they don't want to because that's where everybody went.
But does it have in the idea that it could have more stock growth and it doesn't really feed much data into Facebook? They could expand.
Yeah, I mean, basically, from Facebook's perspective, they want it because it gets people who aren't on Facebook, right? It gets people on their phones.
The whole point of acquiring Instagram and WhatsApp was to expand Facebook's reach to get data from people who don't use Facebook. And even better, to incorporate data from people who do use Facebook, incorporate even a richer set, like who you talk to, who you know, where you are, what you do.
So is the business model for Metaverse, if it ever really exists, advertising and data, or is it instead paywalls and selling fake hay?
Well, they haven't said yet.
I don't think they...
Selling fake hay may actually, that's, everybody's looking at how much money Fortnite makes selling downloadable content.
Excuse me, can I buy some legs, please?
That was, in Second Life, there was a very, still is, I guess, a very vibrant economy in in-app purchases and digital goods. Maybe I would bet you that given Mark's future thinking, that's probably what he
So the bold
thinks.
thing would do, let's get out of the data business. It gets us in trouble.
Right.
Let's get out of that. Let's get out of the ad business. Apple has screwed us over. We can't really get the level of data that we depended upon for growth. So let's go Apple. I'm not really necessarily believing what I'm saying. I'm playing.
No, yeah. This is a scenario.
We get it.
Yeah.
We get it.
But fine. To be really bold and strategic, let's find a way out of. I mean, they got out of the web business and into mobile. Could they get out of the data business?
I'm projecting Mr. Zuckerberg, which is not easy since he doesn't have a human brain, but I'm trying.
You have a Mark Zuckerberg voice. You do.
No, I would I would just do it like that. But
Not like him at all, but
not
okay.
like him at all. No, he's more robotic. But I think, here's what I think. A metaverse is a duplicate of the real world, right? So every possibility of making money in the real world becomes possible.
Well, it's commerce.
Has an analog in the metaverse. Every one of them.
Services.
And if you make your own metaverse, you take a percentage of all transactions. So isn't it so much about data? It's more. It's it's funny because this is what Jeff Bezos is trying to do in the real world. Mark Zuckerberg says, "Well, we'll do it in our virtual world." And if you could get 1 billion or 2 billion people in this virtual world. This is kind of the debate over the metaverse is, do you want a metaverse that's run by individual companies? So like I'm in the Apple metaverse, the Facebook metaverse, the Google metaverse.
But he argued that everything ought to be interoperable.
It should be
He said
interoperable.
that in his video.
Yeah.
That otherwise it doesn't have value. But interestingly, on the ad side, the two companies that were not affected by Apple's moves were Google and Amazon. Because Amazon are their own vendors advertising to sell more of the stuff that's already there. And Google has its own ad infrastructure.
I have a little bit of a
Facebook
contrarian point of view on this. Facebook said we might lose as much as $10 billion next year because of Apple's checkbox. And I think it's BS. I don't think that, in fact, I think they're trying to pretend that this little minor, all the checkbox does is say Apple says you can't have the ID for Apple advertising.
The market sure bought that.
Yeah, because I think Google and Facebook would like to pretend that there are ways to control what they know. That's in their interest.
Oh, I see.
It's the 4D chess theory.
Yeah, they're playing 4D chess. Well, if anybody's going to play 4D chess, it's our friend Mark Data Zuckerberg. I think that probably they have found ways or will find ways. Snap even said this. They said it hasn't hurt us. We made money this quarter for the first time ever. And it may take a little while, but we're going to figure out ways to get all that data anyway. They said the thing that shouldn't be said aloud, which is, yeah, big deal. We can get all that data. Facebook, absolutely. Google absolutely have ways to get just as much data. They know, presuming that what Google and Facebook both want is to know everything there is to know about their users so that when they sell to advertisers, they can say, you want a 65-year-old man in Petaluma? I got him. I got all of them.
Well, here's the other thing you're saying, Leo, about the metaverse is maybe they don't get the data anymore to sell to advertisers because that's getting them in trouble. But they do get it to understand how to put the right pitch for commerce or services or other things to you themselves.
Well,
which is the Amazon one.
It's monopsony again versus monopoly.
I just like saying that.
If you own the metaverse,
show off.
You are the single source of everything in the metaverse. Actually, that is a monopoly. It's not a monopoly.
Yeah, that's a monopoly.
You're the only place people can go to buy everything. You're the company store. Then you're right. You don't need to sell advertising if you're the company store.
I would just sell an access, basically.
Oh, they'd make it free because just like Fortnite, it's better to be free. Then you get more people.
I don't know. I think that there's a class V mass kind of thing here that I can get. It's velvet ropes. How do I get into Studio 54?
You can do both.
I think there will be both.
Yeah, you have it free, and then you have the champagne room.
Yep.
It's like the public internet, and then you'll have
the VIP.
I only know about that from Howard Stern, just to be clear.
There's no sex in the champagne room. I know where allegedly. There's lots of champagne. Yeah, but that's, of course, well, I don't know if they'll do that, but there's nothing that says they couldn't.
I'm just trying to think are we missing something in this tale of their grand strategies?
We're missing the metaverse. And until we have that,
well, that's a good point.
Well, that, yes, I agree.
Oh, you mean it's completely made up and doesn't exist? Oh.
Yeah, we're building theoreticals on top of hypotheticals.
That's
so
true.
I'm like,
Very well said.
But it's a legit question to say, well,
That
what's
sounds
the
like
plan?
a metaverse, yes.
What's the plan? Why would you spend billions and billions of dollars to create this thing? I mean, what's the upside?
well, they own the hardware. They're going to build out the computing infrastructure, which means if you want to have, and if we build a real metaverse, you are going to need some really powerful computers to deliver that quality experience. I've long
That
thought
plus
Facebook
the
should
actual
become like an
network.
AWS. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot of opportunity here, like on the infrastructure side, and then on the access side. Yes. And then also we don't have a rights framework yet for the metaverse. But there's, like we talked about this last week, what is it that people are buying up digital properties? But if you think about like what property means in the metaverse, there are opportunities there too. Opportunities are really endless because we don't actually know what it's going to look like or how it's going to,
Or whether
where
it
the
ever
parameters are gonna
exists.
be. Yeah, that too.
I think it's fascinating. I am skeptical, but
It's basically like all the seasteaders, instead of actually
Yeah.
building the island,
Right.
they're just going to do it in, so
And
it'll be
NFT land.
fascinating. Yeah.
You want a crazy conspiracy theory even further than yours, Jeff? Mark knows that we're headed for a climate crisis, a total dystopia, and he wants to make a refuge. If at least
We're
only
all
in
going
your
to
mind.
be in basements, but we'll be living in,
Yes.
in the past world in
Yeah,
Metaverse.
which is, by the way, exactly what the metaverse in Ready Player One is, and
Yeah,
so
sci-fi
many
for you.
stories. Neuromancer, Snow Crash. It's all a refuge from the horrible real-world dystopia.
But still, at the end of the day, Comcast is going to want their cut. in
Comcast is
all
going to get it. You're right. You're right.
That's what
Comcast always
concerns me
gets
is
its
What's your bandwidth bill going to be if you're living in the metaverse?
right.
No, we're all going to have mesh and everything will be fine on the blockchain.
In Snow
Got another
Crash,
buzzword
remember
to throw in there.
they were, wired only for like super big data transactions and everybody else was wireless, and you had your free networks and like your more capable networks. So, I mean, we're kind of building that out today.
Yeah.
It's funny. You made an excellent point, though, Stacey. We're acting as if this is just around the corner, and it might even be a long shot. So
It's BS upon BS.
that's the ultimate answer to your question, Jeff. No, this is not Mark Zuckerberg saying, "Oh, we don't care about Europe. We've got the metaverse," because that's a long way off.
That is. I know.
That's a
I was
long way
playing
off.
Leo.
Oh, good job. You fooled me. Sucked me right in. Wow.
How the hell do you think we get a 3-hour show?
Yeah, we
Doing
managed
that.
somehow.
Yeah.
Wow. Starlink launched 49 brand new Starlink satellites, but they didn't pay attention to the weather report, the astronomical weather report. The Space Weather Prediction Center had a storm watch in place for the day of the launch due to a giant flare, a full halo coronal mass injection, or FHCME.
Sounds like a medical treatment.
Yes. A release of plasma and accompanying magnetic fields from the sun. Had they paid attention, they might have held off on the launch. 40 of the 49 satellites are lost.
Jeez.
40 of them, all 49 satellites reached their 210 kilometer perigee deployment orbit, PDO. But what happened with the storm is actually like a headwind. Drag up to levels up to 50% higher than on previous launches. They tried to minimize the drag by putting the satellites into safe mode, which turns them to fly edge on. But the drag was so bad, it still buffeted the devices. They could not then leave safe mode to get into their normal orbit, and they started to spiral in, and that's it. They're writing off.
Is this Skylab? Did they fall
No,
down?
they actually, these are small enough, they burn up in reentry.
I was hoping we could have a twig contest if somebody brings us Bork satellite.
I feel like we should only pay out like $10 for that.
I'll give you
Not 10 grand.
I'll give you my flip phone.
All right, Stacey, we're giving the flip phone. Yeah.
Yeah. Goodbye, flip phone.
So I'm not all up on this space stuff and space weather stuff like, say, Mr. Rod Powell is or what have you. But are you saying that they basically could have just checked the weather report that morning before doing this?
Well, it would have been wise
Avoided
not
this?
to launch it then. Yes. That's an
I
expensive.
mean, who thinks about space weather?
Yeah. Well, if you're
Maybe the people in charge of launching
Right,
satellites.
but that's the thing.
your
I mean,
name
if
is
this part of their-
SpaceX,
Yeah.
you should probably think about the weather.
I figured they had checks and balances in place, and this sounds like it was willy-nilly.
They literally make
we
100
forgot to check this morning.
100 of these satellites a week. So I think it might well be they went just, oh, screw it, launch it anyway.
Well, and what if it didn't take them down now? Wouldn't it, and they waited a week?
No, once they're in orbit and going
in 3 weeks.
No, I think they'd be okay. They'd be buffeted,
once you're
but
in
they'd be
orbit, you're
okay. It was because they were hit during their deployment to the higher
I
orbit
see.
that they.
Okay.
I think I know.
And it may be that they don't have deployment processes because startups are really terrible. And I know that Elon Musk does not have bureaucracy tolerance, but this is exactly what bureaucracy and processes do. It's this sort of like, here is our checklist.
Yeah.
And that's hard and boring. And a lot of companies hate doing that. So I can see how this could get missed. And when you got enough money sloshing around, it's fine.
When we had, there's spaceweather.com.
Page I go to every day.
John says he checks it every day. What are you?
John could have saved those satellites.
What are you looking for, John?
knows.
What are you worried about? You want to bring whether to bring an umbrella?
For where the
Does
he want to see
your
the northern
foil hat?
lights?
Yeah.
Because I look for that.
We used
I don't
to,
go every day.
When we did the ham radio show, Ham Nation, of course, we would have a weekly space weather report because it absolutely affects your propagation of your ham signal and so forth. But that's a wild story. Significantly impacted by a geomagnetic storm on Friday. Oh, interesting. 2 days before launch, a CME hit Earth's magnetic field, but it was not a major space weather event. In fact, this is from spaceweather.com. In fact, the weak impact did not at first spark any remarkable geomagnetic activity, but the Earth then passed through the wake of the coronal magnetic eruption. Some sputtering G1 class geomagnetic storms developed. It was one of these minor storms. So that, you know what? This Register article misstates it. And once you get to the actual guys at spaceweather.com and gals, they're saying, it was unpredictable. It was unpredictable. Okay. It was worse.
No.
It was one of these minor storms that caught the Starlink satellites. They didn't expect it. The Starlink team commanded the satellites into a safe mode where they would fly edge on like a sheet of paper to minimize drag. Preliminary analysis showed the increased drag at the low altitudes prevented the satellites from leaving safe mode to begin orbit-raising maneuvers, and up to 48 of these satellites will re-enter or already have re-entered the Earth's atmosphere. Do you want to see it?
Sure.
This is what it looks like when space debris re-enters re-enters the Earth's atmosphere over Puerto Rico. Pretty exciting.
Better it comes down and burns up than stays up there
Here it comes. See
knocks
that?
into things.
The bottom of the screen there, that dot.
Oh.
There's another one. Here they come.
It's like a game.
Like Pong.
Yeah.
No, missile command.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it looks like, missile command.
So they're burning up in the atmosphere. Wow. Have you actually ever seen... It's funny, I've seen it, and it's wild. In fact, I have my trainer said, "Did you see last night? There were UFOs. There were like 60 of them in a row going across the sky." I said, "Yeah, that's Starlink. When they launch them, they're in a daisy. They're in like a bracelet.
I didn't know that.
And they peel off. Yeah, it's really cool.
And they're like that in all the astronomy pictures.
Yes, exactly. Isn't that nice? All right.
See, I wouldn't know because every time I look up at night, it's such a hazy sky here in this area.
Yeah.
I never get to see the moon.
That's your cigar smoke. You gotta cut back.
Yeah, that's a country guy saying, "Oh, I'm in the big city.
Oh,
I
you're
can't
right.
see the sky anymore."
Is the sky brighter in North Kakalaki?
Well, I mean, it's just always hazy here.
Yeah, it's a little hazier here than it is.
Yeah, even trying to get photographs of the moon is difficult because I just don't see it some nights unless it's 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Pollution.
There are now more than 1 billion unicorns. Don't tell your daughter, Stacy. There are now more than 1 billion unicorns.
No.
You're
a little off there.
There are now.
Like, how many orders of magnitude is that you're off?
There are now more than 1 billion companies worth $1,000 or more. Oh, no, I got it backwards.
For those of you on audio, Leo just blew it.
There are now
A lot.
1,000 unicorns. That's companies worth $1 billion or more, which used to be a rarity, right? That was a big deal. Oh, they're unicorns, right? Like Uber.
Inflation, Leo, inflation.
Is it inflation or is just there's a lot of venture capital money flowing?
So much. Like I was just when I was at Fortune in 2015, they did a list of unicorns for the first time, and how many were there? It was ridiculous.
A handful.
It was like
right.
Yeah. Here it is. Let me find it. Fortune.
And all of this comes from raising enough money for a small portion of your company that the total, if you were to sell it all, which you haven't, would be more than $1 billion. So if you raised $10 million for a 1% valuation, right, then you're a unicorn. So that's part of it also, yeah,
I was hoping they would tell me how many unicorns they had. There were like 25 or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your valuation, and valuation is just error.
Valuation is just a hope and a prayer.
It's made up, yeah. The term unicorn dates, this is from Bloomberg Business Week, dates to a 2030...
I haven't heard that in a long time.
Bloomberg Business Week. The term unicorn dates to a 2013 article by Aileen Lee, a venture capitalist who had just started a firm called Cowboy Ventures, writing for TechCrunch, which had just started up. 2013, is that all?
No, TechCrunch. No, TechCrunch was around in like when I joined GigaOM in 2008. TechCrunch was already our competitor. So
I misread this. I thought it said news site. It said news site. Her article was about lessons investors could take from examining the few U.S.-based tech companies that had reached $1 billion valuation. In looking at private and U.S. Public U.S. companies founded since 2003, she identified 39 unicorns. This is in 2013. Airbnb, Dropbox, Facebook, Groupon, LinkedIn, Tumblr, Twitter, YouTube, Uber, Zynga. All the names. But now there's thousands. But the best part of this, what are you laughing at?
I'm on Twitter. I'm so sorry.
Okay, Twitter.
Stacy, you're on Twitter? You?
Wait a minute.
Well, share with the class.
Because I was looking up the Fortune stuff.
Share with the class. What is
It's so political, but it's so silly.
Are you talking Marjorie Taylor Greene's gazpacho?
Yes, but somebody.
I was hoping you'd bring that up so I could mention it because it is political. So apparently, Representative Green has confused the Nazi Gestapo with the famous cold Spanish soup.
DC gulag, but now we have Nancy Pelosi's gazpacho police spying on members of Congress.
Now, I'm glad there's gazpacho police because there's some pretty bad gazpacho around.
So this guy tweets, assuming the gazpacho police report to the soup Nazi. I could not.
There have been some very funny responses.
That's good.
Like, watch out for those Mazel Tov cocktails people will be throwing. And it's not a gulag, it's goulash. Come on. And now, by the way, George Conway has changed his Twitter handle to Senior Gazpacho Conway. I think that's going to be a trend. I think it might be a trend.
Oh, no. Okay, I'm sorry.
That was a good one, Stacey.
I didn't mean to.
That was.
I would have laughed out loud too, but we saw it earlier. Yeah. So
yeah, I did. Because I wasn't checking Twitter earlier.
Yeah, that's why.
Unicorns.
You do it now.
Back to unicorns and Bloomberg Business Week. They did a little table, which you should have done at GigaOM at the time. What's a unicorn worth? The brand value of My Little Pony, $302 million. The last unicorn all-time box office, $6.4 million. Lisa Frank's annual sales estimate, $5.7 million. The unicorn tapestries, $1.1 million. A narwhal tusk, $18,500. Unicorn mascot costume, $849.99. The Pokemon Rapidash card is $9.57. And a unicorn frappuccino, $4.95. I don't even know why they put this table in. It makes no...
Because it's awesome.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
It's entertainment right there.
In 2015, I think they're referring to you, Stacey, Fortune ran a cover story, The Age of Unicorns.
Yes, that was Aaron and Dan's
Aaron Griffith
story.
and Dan Premack. Yep.
Yeah.
There's Aaron talking.
Oh, young Aaron.
Young Aaron.
I mean,
She used to come on the show. I think we should get her
she's
on.
at Wired now.
Yeah, yeah.
No, she's at the New York Times now.
Oh, that's
No,
why.
is she-
She's a big shot now. That's why. That's what happened. Interesting. That's funny. So were you doing research for this article or you were writing another article?
No. While I was there,
While
they
you were
were
there.
doing this
Yeah,
article.
yeah.
I think they asked me 2 questions about some chip companies that were unicorny.
That sounds like Aaron and Dan. Okay, let's take a break. We still have a changelog we haven't done.
Oh, we got time.
Yeah.
We have stories about Google, and I really want to talk about this whole radio thing because people have been asking me about it, and I think it's a fascinating
Let's
story.
do that. Also, the rap star who used to write for Forbes, who is now in a little bit of hot water. A little bit of hot water. The crypto arrest music video coming up.
Forbes, how could that be the case? Forbes is just so upstanding.
Oh,
It has
man.
nothing but the best.
Oh man, oh man. And actually there's a weird jam-packed. I might have to move along here. Age verification for porn, and the IRS finally drops Face ID. We talked about that like 2 weeks ago, and they finally saw the light on that one. But first word from
Wait. I got to catch her in the act. I see Stacy in the rundown down at the pickleball magazines. She's using this moment to subscribe.
what
I'm
is she
adding
doing?
something to the run.
It's okay.
So,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Be my guest.
I'm not subscribing. Oh my goodness, Jeff. Bad Jeff. Also, we're about to go to break. It's totally reasonable to shop during the break.
Oh, okay.
We appreciate our sponsors.
I listen to the sponsors. I hang on Leo's every word.
Please do.
Unlike you, Stacey.
This is actually a
I
really
toast
good one.
waffles.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Go toast a waffle. Why I talk about HackerRank. I know HackerRank because I do they have challenges, coding challenges, which I do and I love. HackerRank is a great place to go if you want to hire coders or if you are a coder and you want to get hired. But one of the big pain points for both sides with getting hired or hiring is the interview, right? Between deadlines and frustrating interview tools that just aren't set up for technical interviews, conducting a tech interview might be the thing you dread the most. You have to spend the first 10 minutes of your interview just trying to set up an environment to share code from a dozen documents. That wastes your time, that wastes your candidate's time. Well, HackerRank has a solution, really cool solution. It's an IDE for tech interviews. What? Yes, it's got a set of easy-to-use interview tools. There it is right there. It's an IDE. I love it. You'll quickly find the best developers for your technical projects. The developer interview tool includes a pre-made question library. That saves a lot of time, 2,500 questions, so you can quickly find the right one for your coding needs. A code playback feature, so you can review the candidate's coding approach and score their skill levels. It's even got a built-in whiteboard, so the two of you can collaborate in real time to see how problems are solved. This is fun. It makes me want to hire some coders. It's time to reboot your technical interview process with HackerRank, of course. Click Interview Done. Start using HackerRank free today and see how much better a technical interview can be. And I bet your candidates will appreciate it too. It's time to reboot your technical interviews with HackerRank's easy-to-use tools. With a pre-made question library, code playback, the built-in whiteboard, you're going to be conducting better technical interviews, help you instantly identify the right talent, and it's all free at HackerRank, HackerRank. Yes, there's 2 R's. HackerRank.com/twig. And please go to the /twig part so we get some credit to start a better tech interview for free today. HackerRank.com/twig. I love HackerRank. These guys are great, and what a great tool. HackerRank.com/twig.
I totally admire how excited you get about an IDE. That's
I did too.
IDEs.
I was like,
I love it.
I bring my
awesome,
headphones.
Integrated
I'm looking in the
development
fridge and-
environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, we live in
Did
those.
you just start talking about IDs?
I love IDEs. IDEs and waffle toast. Do you listen to KUOW in beautiful Seattle?
I do.
Okay, be careful. If you have a if you have a 2016 Mazda,
I do.
do you really?
Yes, I do.
Well, so this
And
tempts
he's an
me.
NPR listener.
This actually intrigues me because it turns out there's a flaw in the rendering. Coders will know all about this. They're not sanitizing their inputs. There's a flaw in the engine. They actually use JavaScript to render the screen.
Not the car engine.
Not the car engine.
Geek engine.
The code engine. To render the screen, they use JavaScript on the entertainment unit, and apparently it has trouble with Unicode characters and some punctuation, and it'll actually crash it. So there are apparently a
Not
lot
just
of
crash it, but brick it.
And there are a lot of people who can only listen to KUOW in their Mazda, permanently stuck on 94.9 FM. Because they have a little extra stuff in the text.
Ars Technica did a better story because KUOW's story starts talking
They
about
didn't
5G.
understand it. They didn't understand it.
5G.
That's why.
I read their story. I was like, what?
Well, of course they didn't understand it. So yeah, Ars Technica figured out that that's what it is. It's a Unicode issue.
Yeah, so it's not a 5G issue
No,
for
not
people
at all.
who are looking at that.
Yeah.
But this to me, okay, so I love this story because it shows like we're building out as we connect all this stuff, and we have companies who are not necessarily used to dealing with software over like a 10-year time frame, maybe like a car's life, figuring out how not to accidentally break it, and then what happens when you break it. Who's responsible? Because the issue here is they break these people's infotainment centers. It's going to cost them money to actually physically replace it if they were one of the
But it's
really unlucky
Mazda's
people.
fault for not properly handling. You can't
But
assume
Mazda's-
what's going to come in over the airwaves. It's a mistake.
Right.
Now, admittedly, KUOW blew it, but wait a minute. They're not the first to do this. There's a podcast called 99% Invisible. Have you heard of this podcast?
Mm-hmm.
There's
It's a great
person
podcast.
there. It's a great podcast, but don't listen to it in your 2016 Mazda because, it's the same thing. There's a percent in the name of this show. They actually had to create a Mazda safe feed.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow. So then it is Mazda's fault.
It's totally Mazda's fault. So the Mazda
Mazda's
safe
saying
feed has 99 PERCENT invisible instead of
the symbol.
percent sign.
So, because Mazda's not replacing, Mazda's like, no, we're not going to replace that. It's
That's
your
bad coding.
problem.
No, it's not.
But they,
Mazda
yeah, because
says
I was,
Mazda said, look, there's a spec for it's it's this additional information that comes through a radio channel nowadays that you display on the screen and it shows you the name of the artist, blah blah blah. That KUOW sent album art through and it crashed the Mazda software. But honestly, I mean, you can debate, and Mazda's going to say, well, that's an old car. We're not going to fix it because it is. At least it's a 6-year-old car. But it is their mistake.
Hey.
that's not an old car. My car's 6.
Yeah.
I mean, my car's 7 years old, and it's a Tesla, y'all.
I haven't driven
not
a
an
car
old car,
older
dude.
than 3 in years.
And you're the guy who goes off buying
Mach-E.
$1,500 phones.
I'm not rich.
drop of a hat.
I'm not rich. I
Oh.
just we lease our cars so that we get a new one every 3 years, and that's why. So Ars Technica did figure it out. Apparently, so did 99% Invisible. And honestly, it's not. I'm sorry, 2016. So it's a 6-year-old Mazda.
Well, it says it affects cars from 2014 to 2017.
Oh, interesting.
So the KUOW, I think there's 2 issues. I think there's 2 separate things running around here. One is specific to 2016-year-olds. And apparently Mazda does say, I feel like ours must have updated the story, that customers Mazda will replace it now.
For goodwill. They're not admitting any culpability. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But because of the chip shortage, it might take a while.
Right.
But
meanwhile, they got to listen to nothing but liberal NPR. It's a conspiracy, I tell you.
So sanitize your inputs, kids.
yeah, this is so tough. We're going to see, like, I'm imagining, like, if I download some software to run like energy management for my home, which I'm like super excited about. But like, what if that does something to like my old Nest thermostat? I'm like, oh crap, how do I fix that? You know, we're getting to this era where we've got all these software interdependencies and we're not creating provisions to help consumers through the like resulting problems. And it's going to suck.
XKCD ish episode or comic strip 327, Exploits of a Mom. Hi, this is your son's school. We're having some computer trouble. Oh dear, did he break something? In a way. Did you really name your son Robert Tick, parenthesis, semicolon, drop table students, semicolon, dash, dash, question mark? Oh, yeah. Little Bobby Tables, we call him. Well, we've lost this year's student records. I hope you're happy. And I hope you have learned to sanitize your database inputs.
Nice.
Little Bobby Tables.
There you go.
So a moment from Uncle Jeff here when the Chicago Tribune was switching from linotypes to cold type. Big machine to set type with photography. The whole thing died one day. The edition almost didn't get out. And the reason was that a golf score happened to be the code for erase core.
That's hilarious.
So everything stays the same. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Wow. Feds, could be Facebook, but feds have arrested a married couple. They say were in possession of $3.6 billion in Bitcoin, allegedly stolen as part of a 2016 hack of Bitfinex, which is a Bitcoin exchange. Authorities arrested a husband and wife in New York for allegedly trying to launder the Bitcoin. Tech entrepreneur Ilya Lichtenstein, 34, and his rapper wife, Heather Morgan, 31, were charged with conspiring to launder money. 119,754 Bitcoin were stolen after a hacker breached Bitfinex and initiated more than 2,000 unauthorized transactions. Prosecutors said the Bitcoin was sent to a digital wallet controlled by Liechtenstein. So, by the way, important note, you're not anonymous. In Bitcoin, if they could figure out whose wallet's whose, at the time it was only worth $71 million, but it's now worth a lot more.
Are you going to play her really valuable art history?
Yes. Federal officials say they were able to seize about 94,000 of the stolen Bitcoin, now worth $3.6 billion. That's not the entirety, though. It's the largest seizure of funds in Justice Department history. But, yeah, her story is kind of interesting. He's a tech entrepreneur who goes by the nickname Dutch with U.S. and Russian citizenship. He calls himself an angel investor. Morgan is a part-time rapper. Who also wrote prolifically, apparently, for Forbes, and in some cases wrote articles about how to secure your Bitcoin investments.
This gets better.
Which are probably well written.
This is made for a Netflix documentary.
it's
This
such a
whole,
story.
it feels like it's not even real. It's just like fake.
Should I play some of her? I don't know. Is it safe? I don't know.
Nah, probably not.
Probably not. She's a performance artist, a rapper.
And Forbes columnist.
Says it all about Forbes.
It's a rainbow resume right there.
Her
I used to get so upset when people would say, "Oh, Stacy works at Forbes." I'd be like, "It's Fortune."
Yeah, big difference. Well, it's funny because the thing is, there's the Forbes Contributor Network, which basically you buy your way into, right? And then there's the journalistic part of Forbes, which is still good. I mean, but you have to be careful because you can't tell who wrote what, really.
That's the problem, and so it's all
And I would not write for. I mean, not that Forbes ever was like, "Stacy, we must have you," but I don't think I'd work at a place that was so confusing.
Morgan's rap name is Razzle Khan. The pair has strongly proclaimed their innocence during a New York court appearance on Tuesday. They say it was a psyop to make us look stupid for being hacked by the most inept criminals on earth. What? Wait a minute. I don't understand. Anyway, Morgan has a prolific presence on social media where you can find TikToks showcasing art pieces inspired by her synesthesia and her weird music videos. Let me see if I can find some of the TikToks. We like TikTok.
Is that where you see colors?
That's right. Very good. She wrote articles like in 2017, should your company worry about getting blacklisted? And in 2020, experts share tips to protect your business from cyber criminals.
Like us.
Apparently, she wrote for Inc. magazine as well.
I agree with Miss Stacy. This is clearly a script for Netflix Studios.
Yeah, here's a picture of her with unaccountably holding a giant wrench.
In the works.
It's a crescent wrench? I mean, yay.
Yeah,
it's my favorite kind of wrench.
Might be doing some plumbing. I don't know. It's a pipe wrench. Yeah. So Inc. She writes for Inc. and Forbes. So there you go. But the good news is the money has been repatriated. I imagine they were holding other people's wallets at Bitfinex, and so other people lost money. I don't know.
Did they get money or did they get the coins back?
Well,
they haven't decided yet. They just arrested them, so they're going to have to wait until.
What's the difference?
They
have
well, because if at the coins, if they got the coins at the valuation that they were when they were stolen. So if they get the coins back, then that's today's valuation. But if they just got money back.
No, I think they got
that's
the
why
coins.
I was curious.
Yeah, they got Bitcoin worth $3.6 billion. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Today.
Yeah, you steal my Rembrandt, and 20 years later, you give me the value of it 20 years before? No, you get the Rembrandt back. Unless it's an NFT, in which you get nothing.
Then you get the pride of being able to tweet about your NFT.
Stolen.
Any more stones you want to throw, Mr. Jarvis?
Sorry, I couldn't. It's easy punchlines. You just can't resist. It's
good news if you were worried about the IRS forcing you to use Face ID with a third-party private corporation, ID.me, they've decided to stop doing that. Ron Wyden wrote him a note saying, "What's going on?
What are you thinking?
He published a statement saying the Treasury Department has made the smart decision to direct the IRS to transition away from using the controversial ID.me verification service, as I requested earlier today. I understand the transition process may take time, but I appreciate that the administration recognizes that privacy and security are not mutually exclusive, and no one should be forced to submit to facial recognition to access critical government services." Good on you, Ron Wyden.
He's also put forth an algorithmic accountability bill that is quite nice. He's re-put it forth, but
I think the smartest, as far as technology goes, person in the Senate.
He created
sharp.
Section 230, right?
He created Section 230. Yeah.
And what's his name? Chris Sagosian, who works for him. Chris, right?
Yeah.
He's hiring a
Segoyan.
Segoyan, thank you. Is hiring a new technology analyst for Wyden's office, which is one heck of a job. You can make a real impact there.
Good. I wish we had more Joe Wydens. Ron Wydens. I don't know. I don't know who
I was
Joe
about to
is.
say, what?
We could have more Joes, but it wouldn't do any good.
Ron Wydens are a dime a dozen. If you can find a Joe Wyden,
they're even better.
Yeah. They're rare, I own the Joe Wyden NFT, and I'm telling you.
And again, from Twitter, thanks to Twitter, it was 1 year ago today that lawyercat visited the hearing. And here's thanks to Judge Roy Ferguson, who's obviously very hip, here is the final ending of the lawyercat hearing.
I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
Just no laugh.
I can see that. I think if you click the up arrow next to the start video or stop video button at the bottom, you'll see video settings. And I believe in video settings, you will see the video filters option.
There's the judge.
That you can
Hey, Judge.
turn off.
Come here.
The judge is actually explaining Zoom. There you go. I'm not a cat. Rod Ponton. I'm not a cat. That's a classic.
1 year ago.
And it's amazing that the actual judge is posting this.
I think
in violation of the own.
No, it's not.
It says recording of this hearing or live stream is prohibited. Violation may constitute contempt.
Unless you're the
of court.
judge.
I guess if you're the judge, who's gonna
Really? That matters? That makes a difference?
Well, I think to Rod Ponton it does. He would
He
very
judges that it's okay to.
The judge says it's okay. Oh my gosh. That's so wonderful. And thank you for reposting that, Judge Ferguson.
You're welcome.
I'm sure the judge will have some
Travis.
sort of lawsuit coming their way.
That's nice. No.
See, I saw that on Twitter as I was doing my work for the show.
Well, thank God I don't have to look at it. I just let you do it, which is great. All right, let's, do we have a change log? Yes, let's.
Yeah, we did.
Thank you, Jason Howell. Or did you do this, Ant? Who did the change log?
No, sir.
this week?
Mr. Howell
Thank you,
did.
Mr. Howell. Ladies and gentlemen,
And
I
he's
now
running
give
on
you the
fumes.
changelog orchestra.
The Google Changelog.
Changelog Orchestra. That's new.
They're good. They're good. They got a kettle drum and a couple of horns, but it's still an orchestra.
Once they come in from outside the smoking, they do their work.
I want somebody to put that on a resume. I was in the Google changelog orchestra. Google adds journeys to Chrome. Journeys to Chrome. You could, in effect, resume your search by searching your history by topic. I think
they should call it rabbit holes.
Rabbit hole. This is actually great. I mean, history is really kind of, I don't know about you, but I use history a lot, trying to remember.
Yeah.
What was it? Where did I see that?
Well, it's because we're old, Leo.
Yeah, maybe. Journeys, a new feature in the Chrome desktop. It groups pages from your search history by topic or intent. Intent? Providing a more helpful user experience than just showing the chronological list. So here's an example they give on at Search Engine Land. Based on activity related to travel, that's the topic, and then a bunch of history results with the word travel in them. I think that's good. That's good. You can either type a topic into your search bar and click resume your research. That's a generous way of saying, I know you forgot what you, so let's help you. Or go to search history and show
Stacey
full
and
history.
Ant don't need to do that. You and I do.
You and I go, what was? The user will then see a list based on activity related to whatever your query is that's pulled from the search history. It's nice. They announced it as an I didn't hear this, but they announced it as an experimental feature a few months ago, and now it is official, although optional, and it is limited to your device. Does not synchronize. I got it, I think, yesterday. The February security patch has rolled out to the Google Pixel. Don't know, how important it is. It does say there are bug fixes.
Mm-hmm. Which included stuff like Wi-Fi connectivity and Bluetooth bugs.
Good.
And I got it, I think it was Monday when I got it installed. And still have that random Bluetooth drop.
Oh, sure.
So,
but I think that's
nice
just
work,
Bluetooth.
Google.
Honestly, I think that's Bluetooth. Bluetooth's horrible. But there are quite a few CVEs, vulnerabilities that were fixed, so you probably should apply it as soon as possible. Incidentally, kudos to Samsung When they announced the S22, they did announce that they were going to do, I think, 4 years of security updates. So following in Google's footsteps, I think that's really important. 4 is still not enough, but hey, it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing.
What would be
you
your
were just saying,
number?
oh, Mazda car, it's 6 years old, screw them. And for the phone, you're saying 4 is not enough.
Well,
what's your ideal number? 5?
5 is between. 5 would be good. 6 is a little too much, honestly, because I think by then there's going to be stuff that you maybe can't fix with a software update. 6-year-old phone, I don't know. Maybe that's just
what a
me.
6-year-old car?
Well, a car is what we call a durable good, but a phone isn't.
Yeah, I wonder about phones that are 5 plus years old, and just how good are they functioning anyway? Even if they are patched up from a security standpoint, just are people still using phones that old?
Well, I mean, some people obviously are because absolutely. I mean, I hear from people all the time who have really old phones. iPhone 6s or
Well, and I ask that because they're giving away phones a lot of times. How many
that's my advice. People call the radio show because they're turning off 3G. In fact, 222. I think it's T-Mobile's turning off 3G. And so a lot of phones, even if they have LTE for data, but if they use 3G for signaling, there's a lot of phones, surprisingly recent phones, that won't work anymore.
Right.
So,
yeah, because when 4G launched, they didn't have voice over 4G. They had to do... So, yeah. But those are, that was a long time ago. But yeah, people are still using it. I mean, I just got my 3G modem replaced in my car. Yeah,
that's actually where you see a lot of them. So T-Mobile says it's going to finish shutting down Sprint's CDMA network March 31st. 4G network June 30th.
Wow.
The 3G units go out January 1st. Yeah, I mean, these are all, because these are, it's expensive to run these extra towers. So AT&T is going off February, this month, 2/2/22. And Verizon said end of the year. But there's a lot of phones and cars and other things with 3G that won't work.
A lot of old alarm systems. I wrote about it probably a year or two ago for my podcast or for Stacey and IoT. Your alarm company should have been sending you things to get you to upgrade, incentives to get you to upgrade. But some people will be caught unawares.
Medical devices, tablets, smartwatches, vehicle SOS services, home security systems, and other connected products could be affected. That wasn't in the changelog, but that's a big deal. Pay attention.
Yeah.
Google's latest Pixel 6 update, the February patch, breaks some things. Some owners say Wi-Fi is randomly shutting off. Sigh.
Or Bluetooth. Or Bluetooth.
Or Bluetooth. Sigh. So, but you fix a thing, you break a thing. It's the way of the world. Some things fixed, some things broken. Is it?
I mean, before we got to everything software.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Our dishwasher. We keep breaking dishwashers. We're on our 3rd dishwasher in 8 years, 9 years. We moved into 2013.
I heard a story about this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Lisa's probably tell. So the last dishwasher.
She's quite colorful.
10 people came out. I mean, literally couldn't fix it. Finally, one guy who comes out with diagnostic tools says, oh, yeah, all the circuit boards are fried, replaces them. Dishwasher works fine. Dies later. We replace it with, I think it's a KitchenAid.
Ooh.
Some guy comes out who is kind of not the sharpest tool.
That's not what she said.
He looks at it. And he touches he says the motor feels fine, and then says, I think it's fine, and let me know if it doesn't work. And then it doesn't work. And
it feels fine.
It feels fine. He felt it. and then it doesn't work.
He's the dishwasher whisperer.
It doesn't work. And then, so we got the extended warranty. It's only a year and some months old, but we got the extended warranty. And, we called and said, yeah, no, he didn't fix it. We keep getting parts in the mail, but no. But then they said, we can't find anybody to fix it. So, what? We don't have anybody else. That's it. He's the guy. And so Lisa tries calling somebody else, and they said, yeah, we could fix it in a year. A year.
Jeez.
A year. We're
Supply
booked out
chain?
a year. Maybe I don't know what it is. That's not. No, it's not a supply chain issue. It's a service technician issue. I don't know if you've noticed this in Bedminster.
The Maytag. Well, let me tell you, the Maytag repairman used to be very popular, and then he became quite ignored.
Yeah, maybe they all retired. Do you have a hard time getting handyman, plumbers, technicians, things like that? Do you have a hard time getting them? We can't get any. Yes,
it's both a retirement issue and a lack of recruitment coming in.
Maybe it's
young
a great
people.
resignation. I don't know.
And then people had money from their COVID fees, not fees, whatever. And so they invested in the home improvement.
This is a shame. People are not going into the trades anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyway.
We're all like, and what are we going to do about that?
We're hand washing dishes. That's all there is to it. Lisa's okay. She's now gone to the insurance. The third party. I never buy third party insurance. But she's going to them and she's saying, "Okay, now what are you going to do? You're going to get us a new dishwasher because we are now without a dishwasher, and we have parts. You've sent us parts."
I'm sure there's a YouTube video on how to fix it.
Oh, I already tried that.
What I do.
Oh, I tried.
Is there a button on the dishwasher that says "Go to terminal"?
I could do it in the terminal. If I
turn
had
the dishwasher off again
equipment.
and on again.
But so with this, I think it was she says a GE. I think it was a GE. There was diagnostic tools like you go to a garage and they plug in your car.
Yeah.
Is that true for all appliances these days, or?
Yes, most appliances,
Nowadays.
even those that aren't connected, will have some sort of diagnostic.
Because they're all
option.
computer. They all have boards running them, right?
They all have computers in them. Yeah.
And the problem is this guy doesn't have this tool, so he has to put his hand on the thing. I just need to find somebody who has the tool who can say what's wrong, and then we'll know which of the many parts they have sent us to install.
Oh, man.
Unfortunately, it might be a part that's in short supply. Like that's the big issue. Like my dad's,
might be.
They fried the circuit boards in their fridge, and unfortunately, there's a chip shortage out there.
Hard to get.
Oh, interesting. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. We've uncovered another problem.
My dad's a double E, so he's like,
what's he doing?
Maybe I could just play with the board and see if
I got a soldering iron. I'm not afraid to use it. Yeah.
We're all going to be in the metaverse without any refrigerators or dishwashers, and we'll be happy.
Dystopia. That's it, right? You'll have a virtual dishwasher,
slurry.
but you'll have a little tube that you suck. Well, what happens when the metaverse breaks? That's what I'm thinking. Pixel 3 and 3 XL, this is your final update, this February security patch. That's it. It's over. So.
No, that's what I gave my daughter. This February?
Today, the one you just got.
Son of a biscuit. All right. I got to get her a different phone.
Uh-huh. I've got this fine folding phone she might enjoy.
Oh, that's true. I'll give her my 5 if I get this folding phone.
Oh, we gotta FedEx this to you right away. We'll get this to you stat. Pronto. Well, she's good for another month at least. But we'll get this to you right away. It's in perfect condition. I'll throw in at no additional charge the handy dandy leather case that goes on it.
There's a case on that thing?
Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you want the case because otherwise you're bareback in it. It's not good.
Leah, why don't I just send you money for it?
No. I insist. I don't mind. I really don't. I tried to get money for it. Samsung was going to give me $350 for it, but then nothing. So that's without a case.
Say, never mind the phone. Can you give me that cooking thing you like?
No, Thermomix.
There you go.
Thermomix.
So the problem without the case is you probably can't see it, but it's kind of like a clothespin. It doesn't
bother you before.
It bothers me, but you put the case on it. It seals it all up.
I have to put a case on all my phones because they just feel like they might just slip right out of my little hands.
Slick. Yeah, they're slippery. You're gonna I predict you're gonna flip. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this phone, if I may coin a phrase. I think it's good. I really like it. If
Best
I didn't
sales pitch ever.
have all these other phones, I would be more interested in it. Android 12L, the hated version, Beta 3, coming now. If you're on the beta track for Pixel 6, Pixel 6 Pro, and you're on a 12L, right?
No, I'm not doing beta
I wouldn't
software.
do that.
The daggum production software doesn't work. Why I want the beta?
You're right. Is maybe Jason's on it? I don't know. I thought
Probably
somebody
Mr.
was-
Howell.
Yeah.
That's something Jason would
Who's
do,
living
yeah.
on the edge in the Twid studio?
Yeah.
Somebody is. And finally, the Google Chrome icon has been updated. I defy you.
Yeah.
I defy you to tell the difference. Now, the old one, you could tell. Like, that's a 3D. That
was
looks like
pretty
a
clunky, by the
Simon,
way.
right?
It's just
But this is-
slightly larger in the center, sir. Slightly larger.
Slightly larger center. And I think there's a little gradient on the red to give it a little highlight, like the light shining on it. But boy, if you didn't see them exactly next to each other like this,
Yeah,
even
you wouldn't
looking at them next to each other, it hardly seems
How
different.
many tests and focus groups and meetings did they go through to get that?
Do you remember in the old days, Marissa Meyer, who was in charge of Google's front
Yeah.
page? There were when their big product was search. You know, it's very adamant. You can't change it. She would go through all those focus groups about the colors and all that stuff.
A/B testing, not focus groups.
A/B testing, yeah.
Oh, data, real hard data.
Now, I wish she'd come back because the search page is junked up like nothing. Look at all this crap.
Ooh, yeah. It is like shopping on Amazon or going to a TJ Maxx store or something. I mean,
Well, it's not that
a real
bad.
crap experience.
But there's a lot. There's a lot more. I mean, the carbon neutral since 2007. Blah blah blah. Lots of links. It's still pretty spare compared to most.
Compared to most, it's
Compared to
better.
most, yeah. And that is the Google changelog.
It's one of the best change logs in a while.
Was good. Thank you, Jason. Roblox. We're talking about in-game purchases and how valuable they are. $500 million in 2021. In-game money going to people creators making stuff for Roblox. That is a big business. That is a big.
And that's
business.
exactly what Meta is looking at, is stuff like that, I'm
Yep.
sure.
Oh gosh, yeah. Oh gosh, have we? Oh no, there's more.
Yeah, you gotta learn
We
to
have not.
scroll.
This is a very full show.
Well, okay. I don't want to. We're not going to go.
He hates to scroll on the big machine.
I don't like to scroll. So it's a lot of
It makes
movement.
his wrist floppy.
movement.
Yeah.
A lot of movement.
Oh, sorry.
I don't want to.
We talk about age verification in porn.
Oh, we could talk about ARM.
Okay.
Jeff
so
is like moral panic.
age
Stacey's like
verification
chips.
in porn. I can do it quickly. If you're in the UK and you're underage, you'll have to go to a bar and show them your ID to get into a porn site. That's all.
If you're anybody, and just wait for that data breach. Just
wait. If you think ID me was bad, oof.
Boris Johnson will be in there.
Yeah. And actually, there's some talk about implementing that in the U.S. I can't imagine, given
What
that,
about privacy?
it's porn and apple pie here in America, that they would do that. Yeah, privacy, big deal. But age verification, this has been going back and forth in the U.K. for some time. Now, tell us
There's
about...
a lot of planning ahead to look at porn.
Exactly. It's no longer an impulse. You know,
Spur
you
of the
gotta
moment for you.
no spur of the moment. Mm-mm.
Thursday is porn day around here. Yeah.
Hop on down to the pub, get certified, and all right.
Let's do the NVIDIA story. They were trying to buy ARM. It's funny, as the first bid was like $20 billion, and then as the value of NVIDIA's stock kept going up, it ended up, I think, $42 billion. At this point, NVIDIA might be going, whoo, we dodged a bullet. They've decided, because of regulatory headwinds, that's the new word, by the way, in finance markets, regulatory headwinds, they are not going to attempt to buy ARM. They will have to pay more than $1 billion in breakup fees to SoftBank, the current owners. SoftBank has decided to do an IPO because they want to wash their hands of this thing.
Yeah.
What do you think, Stacey? Good, bad?
You did it. No, it's totally reasonable. I mean, when your own customers are coming out against the deal and complaining to regulators that it's a bad idea, you probably shouldn't complete the deal. And so ARM has to be an independent entity going forward. I mean, it's just, yeah.
Too many. Yeah. If any one company owned it, although, I kind of had this evil, genius thing about, it would be so cool if ARM and NVIDIA were the same and they could just do this amazing stuff. But you're absolutely right. It's bad for everybody else in the business.
The next thing to look for, like, the reason why it would not be, I'll just play a little devil's advocate. The reason why this is silly and the deal should have gone through is because RISC-V is coming out hard and fast.
Oh, I hope you're right.
To compete on the instruction set side. And Intel this week just said, hey, you know what? we are going to be all in on RISC-V. We're going to do a foundry partnership with Sci-Fi, which makes a chip configurator kind of thing for RISC-V chips, so you don't need to design your own if you don't want to. And we're even going to manufacture some ARM chips. So, if I were looking ahead, I would say to the ARM IPO, sure, that needs to be done, but keep RISC-V in your kind of rear view, because that's more open than what ARM is doing when you think about ARM being more open than the x86 license.
I think
and that's all the chip news.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think of RISC-V as kind of like an open source chip architecture, right?
It is an open source chip architecture. That is exactly what it is. But there are companies like Sci-Fi that are building ways to make it easier for, like, I couldn't design a chip even with that. But like, I don't know, if you try Sci-Fi's site, you can go in and you're like, oh, I would like, 2L2 caches. I would like these ports. I would like this kind of core that processes Linux and something else.
Kind of like what you do if you buy an ARM license.
Kind of, but you don't have to buy an ARM license to do it.
Yeah. Developed
It's
at
much
UC
cheaper.
Berkeley. It's not brand new. It's about 10 years old.
Which is new in the chip world.
It's a small instruction set, but RISC-V, the reason Intel likes this is because Intel has, in effect, become two companies. One, a design firm continuing to make the x86 stuff they have already been making. The other, a foundry. They want a foundry business, kind of like TSMC, and they want to build RISC-V chips. RISC-V probably has a future, though, in some of the areas where we've seen these chip shortages. The legacy, not the big powerful chips in PCs and Macs, but the legacy nodes in a lot of devices, and embedded devices and stuff.
I actually think where you're going to see RISC-V, so the big trend in computing is more not single purpose. It's not general purpose computing anymore, right?
Yeah.
We need to get the most performance per watt.
You would see RISC-V stuff in IoT, you think?
Yeah, there's actually companies building RISC-V for IoT. You see right now where it's most popular is like Western Digital, NVIDIA, Seagate. They all make RISC-V chips for governing their own
so people are already
chips.
making RISC-V processors.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I
they've
thought we were just at the beginning of that. So they're performant and they work and people like them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, people are. Now, you're not seeing them they're the chips that control the chips on your boards, right?
Right. Right.
But they could be used for you can design something for a huge number of things. And that becomes really important because when you think about a machine learning process, you're like, oh, what kind of neural network are you doing? Are you doing a convolutional neural network? Are you doing a adversarial network? Let's optimize the hell out of a chip. And because you don't have to pay the larger licensing fees, and because you can build it yourself and just ship it off to be manufactured, you get a lot more flexibility there. And so you're going to see this whole opening. It's going to be really, if you're like me, it's really freaking cool.
if you're
and if you're like you, maybe not.
No, I'm actually very interested. I think it's great. Remember the fuss when Google announced we're going to turn on two-factor or two-step, as they call it, verification for a bunch of people, and good luck. Well, Google says we turn it on for 150 million people, and it has led to a 50% decrease in compromised accounts. It's been a success. 150 million people suddenly have two-step authentication. Maybe you're one of them. Of course, we've been saying for a long time, as has Google, turn it on. But I guess the difference is at this point.
So they just did that for their test group. That's just how I read this, correct? This isn't something that was pushed out to everyone by default?
No. They're going to continue auto enrollments in 2022. I'm not sure what qualifies you as an enrollee. It's 150 million
test
people
group in that, and I'm like, test group.
It's a big number for a test group. So I guess they're doing it judiciously, and this is the first result, which is it's worked at least in making people more secure. What I'd like to know is how many people got locked out of their accounts, how many people quit Google forever, how bad it was for the people who just didn't like it. But you know what? I think Google's right to do it. So, and it does work.
Good stuff.
Yep. It's pretty. It's not onerous. It's the thing where you get the announcement for Google on your phone that you say, "Yeah, that was me," and then you're logged in. It's like single sign-on, so it's not. You don't have to have an authenticator. You don't have to have a. It's not bad. It's actually. I love it.
Yeah.
I've had it for a long time. In fact, it's funny because I was just trying to buy that Samsung phone, and in order to log into my Samsung account, they said, "Okay, we just sent a push notification to your Samsung phone." Everybody's doing it now. Apple does it too. So I think that's...
So does Shopify.
Shopify does it? Yeah, I think that's good. And it's not a text message. That's the other thing. It's a push.
Yeah.
It's a push notification. Right. It's not a text message. By the way, Stacy, look at the beautiful wallpapers you get with this Samsung Galaxy Flip 3.
I can't wait.
Meta is adding a personal boundary to your legless virtual avatar so that nobody can goose you. To eliminate harassment.
I don't think that's the kind of harassment. I mean, that's fine, but that's not really the kind of
there were cases of people who...
close talkers?
No, who got virtually assaulted. Women.
Yeah, I've heard this, but anyway, there's a 2-foot radius of virtual personal space. So there's, in effect, 4 feet between all avatars.
It's that and virtual COVID doesn't get you too.
You could get virtually groped. Is that what you're saying? But you're not, because it's just, I mean, it's just.
Okay.
I know, but it was a way to represent.
Stop.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's
pretend I'm talking to you about chips and I'm really excited to tell you about ARM and instruction sets. And you're like virtually grabbing my boobs. I'm going to be like,
that's not nice.
You know what?
Yeah. No, you're right. Well, I think those people should just be kicked out entirely.
Yeah.
But if this helps, if this fixes it, that's good. Now,
I mean, it'd be nice.
Legs.
I mean, because then legs might make the issue worse. Maybe that's
you're
why
right.
We don't have legs.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Maybe we should just be floating heads.
That's a possibility.
Peter Thiel is leaving the Facebook board. That sounded like good news until I heard that what he's going to do is focus on the 2022 midterms. Oh, crap.
Well, which he could have done anyway. What, like the board stops him from doing that?
Maybe.
He was doing that all along.
Maybe if he's too partisan.
Well, like he was Mr. Neutral before.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think somebody, I don't know.
He's a Trumper, and he's got a slate of candidates who are allies of the former president that he wants to throw money at, and he's got a lot of money.
Hey,
and I imagine no company wants to be on super partisan plot. No company's gonna be like, yeah, I would think that.
I would think Facebook might. Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, they put up with it. Yeah.
I think it was more hidden earlier on.
Right.
And now they're like, yeah, if you're doing this again, no. No.
All right. I'm done with this scrolling thing.
You've had it?
I've had it. We're going to get to your picks of the week. So please prepare them. Do whatever you need to do. Toast a stroopwafel if you have to. But get ready because it's pick of the week time coming up. Our show today brought to you by Melissa, the address experts. 15%. This is kind of mind-boggling. 15% of the U.S. population moves every year. Every year. And if you have an address list for customers or suppliers or bills or Christmas cards or whatever, that's 15% of them that are going missing. To ensure your business is successful, your customer information has to be accurate. Melissa makes sure your data is current and accurate. Yeah, how does it do it? It's amazing. They've been doing this for over 35 years. They call it data quality. They're experienced. They're independent. 10,000 businesses consider them the authorities on addresses. Not just addresses, emails, phone numbers, names. Melissa has a renewal rate of over 92%. The ROI, 25% typically for Melissa customers. It saves you money. No more sending to the wrong address, billing people incorrectly. Maybe you've got duplicate information in your database. Melissa's data matching will help eliminate clutters and duplicates, increasing the accuracy of the database, which means, less postage, fewer, lower mailing costs. Global address verification for 240 plus countries and territories. And you could do it in any form you like. They have on-prem, they have web service, they have a secure FTP site you can upload and download, a cleaned list from. Software as a service, there's a very nice API you will love. In fact, a lot of companies just build Melissa right into their customer service software or their ordering software. You probably already experienced Melissa when you enter an address and it says it completes it, or it says, is this it? Is this the zip plus 4? That's Melissa. They could do batch address cleaning, means you send them an entire address list and they'll process it for accuracy and completeness. You'll like this for fraud reduction. Identity verification to reduce risk, to ensure compliance, and keep customers happy. They can do geocoding, convert addresses into latitude and longitude automatically, quickly, and accurately. And for email, which is more and more important, isn't it? They have 95% of bad email addresses can be removed or fixed in your database. That's very nice. You take a look. If you want to try Melissa, they have the Lookups apps, both on iOS and Android. And you can go in there and search an address, a name, or more at your fingertips. Don't worry, your data is always safe. Your privacy and the privacy of your customers absolutely assured. They undergo continuous independent security audits to reinforce their commitment to data security, to privacy, and of course, compliance. A lot of you have compliance requirements. You should know they're SOC 2, HIPAA, and GDPR compliant. And man, do they have great support. Sign up for that service level agreement. You'll have access to Melissa's Global Support Center, 24/7, world famous support. Melissa is a leader in their field. In fact, I want to congratulate them. They've been named once again to the Data Quality Magic Quadrant by Gartner. That's the second year in a row. They're also, according to G2 Crowd's 2022 report, a leader in both address verification and data quality software. Melissa, they are the address experts. Make sure your customer contact data is up to date. Try Melissa's APIs in the developer portal. It's easy to log on, sign up, and start playing in the API sandbox 24/7. Get started today with 1,000 records cleaned for free. Melissa.com/twit. Melissa, MELISSA.com/twit. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Stacy's Thing of the Week.
My thing isn't a thing this week. It's an app. It's a tour. 2 tours. Mine are Black history tours of places I've lived in. I just thought these were, I've done the Austin one, but I have not done the one for Seattle yet. But I was like, ooh, this looks fun. So I saw that in the Seattle Times.
It's called the Green Book, which I love. Is it based on the original Green Book?
Yes. So basically, both of these, the Seattle one is the one I haven't done, but it's an app. So if you go on your phone, you can download the app, and it's an audio self-guided tour around parts of Seattle.
Cool. Oh, that's neat.
And it kind of gives a lot of information about anybody who was Black living there before. And I think it's important to understand, how much cities have historically paved over Black communities as part of
This was originally, so this was developed by Black and Tan Hall, a Seattle organization, as an in-person guided tour. But after COVID, they decided, we should make this online and audio. I think that's really cool. And you can just listen yourself. That's really cool.
And you get to know your city. So I did that for Seattle. And then I had done one, and this one gets updated all the time. This is a virtual tour of the UT campus, which y'all may be aware of, has some incredibly racist traditions.
Oh, really? No, I wasn't. Okay.
Were you really not?
No, I didn't know. I mean,
okay. Yeah, we had Confederate statues up until
when I went to see the Austin State House, there's a lovely statue about states' rights right there in the front, and it's like, yeah, I know what states' rights means. Okay, fine. That's probably gone too, I would imagine. It was there when I went to South by 4 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, even when I was going to school at UT Austin and was a tour guide, we had the South Mall.
Oh yeah, here's Jefferson Davis. Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
And part of the stated tour from lots of people was, so lots of the tour guides was like, this fountain here is in honor of the South rising again. One day it will happen. And I'm like, no wonder we don't have any people who are black here.
Save your Confederate dollars, boys. The South will rise again.
Such as
Oops.
So yeah, so this is the UT tour, and there's just lots of really interesting information. Like, I don't know, I love learning the history of any place, and learning a history that's been actively erased is always, I think, worthwhile.
Were you at the women's? Were you in the women's hall, or did you? By then, were they kind of, integrated? Did they allow the ladies part of the rest of the campus?
I stayed off campus.
Okay. When I went to Yale, I went to Yale in '73. They had only recently allowed women at Yale. And for a long time, the women were in one dorm building way at the end, like as far away as possible from the guys. And, actually, the history of black people at Yale, black men at Yale, is longer than the history of women at Yale, which is surprising. Wow. Yeah. They really didn't like women. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. This is cool. I like this Austin one. Gearing Hall, Painter Hall, Steps of the West Mall, South Mall. Jefferson, Davis,
like anybody
George
who's interested
Washington.
in it.
Wow.
There's the whole area of across the street from the West Campus. It was a black community called Wheatville, which there's the Wheatville Co-op a little further down there. But I was like, what? And then the people who lived there were really excited, and they advocated for the creation of UT. And then UT, like, basically, once they were there, demand for real estate just totally like bulldozed the entire black section of town and pushed them over to the east side, which now gentrification is doing the same thing.
Yeah, right.
I was going to say, sounds like gentrification to me.
Yeah. Fascinating. So Seattle and Austin, or UT anyway.
I would encourage you to look for these sorts of things in your own cities. If this is,
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that. I think when we were in Hawaii, we did these tours. You bring in your car and you drive around. I love this idea. You've got a phone, you've got internet. You could actually give your own tours of all sorts of stuff. It's a great idea. Great idea. The Green Book, Seattle Green Book self-guided tour from Black and Tan Hall. Which has
they have an exhibit dedicated to the Green Book, I think, that opens this weekend.
Look at this merch. You might like some of this stuff. This is cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Nice stuff. Thank you, Stacy. It's Black History Month. I almost forgot. So thank you for helping us commemorate it. Jeff?
Nice picks.
You got the number?
A few media things here.
All right.
So after Hamilton went on to Disney and Wonder Woman went on to HBO, and Greyhound went on to Apple, of course there was a huge spike in subscriptions. 6 months later, one half who had signed up within 3 days of the release of each were gone.
Wow.
Now you could look at that as a major failure.
Half stayed.
I always saw
half stayed.
And it's a new plateau.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one.
That's
the other one is on
interesting.
Axios. If you have to scroll, I hate to make you scroll, Leo. I don't want your wrist
exhausted.
Down to number 6 in the Axios thing, because there's no permalink, which is rather surprising, actually. They tracked TikTok followers for select media outlets. So ESPN, not surprisingly, has 22 million TikTok followers.
Wow.
Washington Post, which has a full-time guy, I just hired another one, only has 1 million.
That's half of my son's.
Compare and contrast that.
My son has twice as many.
Yes. Most of these outlets. Salt Hank beats them. He's twice of TMZ, for God's sakes. He's twice BuzzFeed.
I love that.
He's twice ABC News and USA Today and Sports Illustrated. Salt Hank, folks. Salt_Hank.
He's awesome. Doing, if you go to the Apple App Store and search for TikTok, he's featured on the App Store because he's doing a thing with Tastemade that's, I guess, a romantic dinner for two, which is ironic. But anyway, since I don't think he has a girlfriend, maybe he does have a girlfriend. I don't know. He doesn't tell me.
He's probably not telling Dad.
He's not telling Dad. Let's see if he's still on there. No, they took it down. I guess he did it, but they were promoting a live event he was going to do with Tastemade right there on the App Store, which is kind of cool. Yeah, it's amazing. He's up there
Hank
with
the Heartthrob. Is that it?
Hank the Heartthrob. Whoa. He's almost got as many TikTok followers as CBS News. That's pretty amazing. Now the digital ones do a little bit. Now this is 4 million. Bustle is 3 million. But honestly, it's what they're putting up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got 1.8 million followers and ungodly number of likes. It's like 30 or 40 million.
Jeez.
Very cool.
But once again, I was just going TikTok last night, and I was going through and get my wrist all floppy and going through. And then I said, I haven't seen Salt Hank in ages, and I follow Salt Hank.
Yeah, me too. I don't understand the algorithm at all.
I typed in Salt Hank.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get the notification
That's
of
what I have to
something he
do.
published days later, though.
He was in the radio show in the studio. I interviewed him on the radio show on Sunday.
That was so funny.
It was so funny. And we decided to recreate a photo when he was a baby and I was working at KSFO in San Francisco. He came in and sat on my lap. And that's me with him on my lap. And then this is obviously, he's a little bit bigger now. In fact, I'm looking up to him. So that was kind of fun.
Yes, only Salt Hank has changed in that picture.
Well, my hair is a little whiter than it was. He's a sweet guy.
That's an adorable.
He's a really sweet guy, yeah. And thanks to Rail Europe Groups who did the Photoshop because he took the two photos and put them together on the Twit set, which is hysterical.
Love it.
Ed Pruitt, pick of the week, my friend.
Let's see. I have two. First one, I want to say thank you to Joe Esposito. I'm hoping I'm saying your last name correctly. I was on his show, The Ozone Nightmare, recently. Joe is actually a member of our club.
Oh, nice.
In Discord, and he watches this show, and we had a lot of fun. Mr. Jarvis, we even talked about code type and stuff and got into talking about fonts because he's a graphics designer. So
I believe it when I look at his website. It's gorgeous. And look, he does all his links in like type. That's kind of cool.
It's pretty nice. But it was a really, really fun conversation. I appreciate him having me on just to chit chat and have a beer or two.
The Ozone Nightmare is the name of the podcast.
Ozone Nightmare is the show. And next, I just wanted to say a big thank you to Miss Robin Roberts. Y'all know of her from Good Morning America. I'm a paid subscriber to Masterclass, and I've been on a mission of trying to get better, be a better version of Aunt Pruitt, whether it be personally or professionally. And so I spend a lot of time in Masterclass, and I've been watching her class and actually finished it now, just regarding public speaking and presentation.
Is it like a media training class? That's cool.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Now, granted, there's some things I know already, but it was nice just to get her perspective and her being a woman of color, heck, being a woman in the industry and the things that she's seen that I hadn't seen and bringing it to light and just helping people to, that are curious about getting into broadcasting or content creation and so forth. I love it. Not trying to sound like an ad, but yeah, Masterclass used to sponsor us at some point in time, but man, I love it. I bought the subscription right away and I use it all the time. And that class right there is worth it in gold right there.
I'm going to have to go check it out. I still have my account. That's great. That's really great. Yeah, Masterclass is amazing at the people that get in there. It's kind of unbelievable.
Stuff in there. Samuel Jackson's Masterclass on
is that good?
Acting.
Oh my God, is that good?
Man, there's one part in it, I won't give too much of it away, where he talks about having to dress like a bum in some film that he was in. He had to dress like a bum, and he was inspired by that based off of a personal situation where he was on the subway in New York and was heading home, fell asleep in the subway and woke up with somebody laying on him that had bugs and stuff crawling all over him. And it sickened him a little bit. So he says he ran home and he got in the shower and just like, oh God. And then he's like, that's what I need people to feel when I am this bum on this TV show or movie or whatever it was. And so it inspired him to be able to, present that back to the people watching that film.
He's an amazing guy. Really amazing. And a great actor. Thank you, Ant. Man, if you start acting like those two, I'm in trouble.
The Ant Robin Roberts mashup, I can see. The Ant Samuel L. Jackson mashup. It's a little harder to picture, but sure.
He's too sweet. He's too sweet, isn't he?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm just trying to get better at this stuff,
Just
sir. That's
say this.
all it is.
No
I look
mother
at you.
effing snakes on this mother effing plane. Just say that. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm serious. I just want to get better at this. I look at you and I look at Mr. Howell and I look at Mr. Sergeant and I'm like, yeah, these cats, they got it. They're so good. And I just want to sharpen my skills. That's all.
Don't be silly. You're fantastic.
And people are sending you liquor. You're doing things. You are an authentic being, and that is what we love.
Yeah. No, you got it, Aunt. Absolutely have it. But I mean, hey, that's great. Everybody should work hard to become better, except me. I'm working hard to retire. But that's another story for another day.
That's where I'm trying to get to.
Ant Pruitt, hands-on photography, twit.tv/hop. He's also the community manager at our Club Twit. Give us a plug for Club Twit.
Well, for Club Twit, that is our members platform that allows you to catch all of our shows ad-free here on the network, but that's not even the main perk. Quite honestly, the main perk is the Discord.
I agree.
And the bonus content.
So cool. Yeah.
There's a lot of people joined up and they have random conversations about different topics inside of our Discord server. And then there's the monthly-ish bonus content that we'll throw out there in addition to the stuff that we don't show on the cutting room floor. Got the book club with Miss Stacey Higginbotham where we talk about some books that I have no idea about, but it's still a lot of fun. And then I'll have some fireside chats and AMAs and, like this Friday, February 11th, 4 p.m. Pacific, Mr. Mike Elgin and his better half will be in the studio to sit down with Chief Twit to talk about the Gastro Nomad experience. So sign up for seriously, it's an expensive cup of coffee a month that you have to sacrifice, $7 a month, and you can get into the club.
It's well worth it. A bottle of hot sauce. That's it.
That might be the cost of a unicorn frappuccino today.
Probably is. Come to think of it. Thank you, Ant. Yeah, twit.tv/Club Twit. And Friday, Mike and I will be here with, I think Amira's coming too. And that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. Jeff Jarvis, thank you so much. Leonard Tao Professor, Director of the Townite Center for Entrepreneur. Who, Craig?
He's eager to get out of here.
Graduate School of Journalism at City University of New York.
Let's
go. Buzzmachine.com. He did not die during the show, so we're good.
That's a good thing. We'll take that as a win.
Yep.
It's a win.
It's a win. I know how you feel, Jeff. I do. And, of course, Stacey Higginbotham. StaceyOnIoT.com is her website. That's where you'll find the IoT podcast she does with Kevin Toffel, the man who's too good for this show. And also, we try.
He spends his Wednesdays, he's hanging out with his son.
I know,
lately.
he's Python programming. I know.
He's coding and hanging out with his kid. You can't resent him
No,
for
I
that.
don't. I'm just teasing. Actually, I love him. I just we always want him on because we love him so much. But you got him, and that's what matters. You also have some newsletter there.
I get Kevin in this situation.
Yeah.
So you know how the old Groucho Marx show used to have, if you said the magic word,
say the magic word. We know. Yeah, your duck came down. Yeah.
Right. So I always feel that way when I want to say something that turns into the show title. I always wish I could come up with that line. I'm happy when I do. It happens rarely. But Stacey, I think, did it perfectly tonight.
What is the show title
go with this one or not.
for tonight?
The show title proposed
yes.
is Stacey's Theoreticals on top of Hypotheticals.
That's pretty good. It kind of says it all for the show. I like it.
From the blue-haired lady come these pearls of wisdom.
Other pearls of wisdom also nominated. I'm going to go toast a waffle.
There's always people like the waffles. I mean, I like waffles. I'm down with those people.
Yeah. Oh, you do?
Invisible Mazda, call a husky. Let's see. Coronal mass ejection, the Gazpacho police. No JavaScript for you, but I think you're right. I do like that. I think it's a good.
I didn't mean to.
Theoreticals.
Here, but I just wanted to give.
Is
her
it too
credit.
long,
That was
John?
very
Theoreticals on top of hypotheticals. Oh, it's Burke. Where's John, man? He's the only guy who knows how long it can be. Oh man.
You're gonna screw people's Mazdas up with a too long show title.
Oh, hey,
I'll be
let's
listening
put
to it.
percentage signs in the show title.
Oh gosh, no.
That's mean.
That would be
us
mean.
Mazda buyers. That's very mean.
What year is your Mazda, Jeff?
2017, I think, actually.
I don't know. I think it's right in there.
It is. Oh, it is in that list. Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah,
You don't care
come
about
on
it.
out to Seattle, land of bridges.
Yeah, you know how much I love that.
I know. I'm like
Carl
it would be
Freeze
bad for you.
right there.
So I think actually the title is going to be in percent invisible Mazda percent. Just in honor of you.
Yeah.
Do it.
Thanks everybody for joining us. We do This Week in Google on a Wednesday around 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2200 UTC at live.twit.tv. That's where the live audio and video streams live. irc.twit.tv is where the chat room lives. You don't need an IRC client, by the way. A web browser will work fine. We also can chat in the Discord if you're a member of Club Twit. After the fact, all the shows go to the website, twit.tv. If you want to download shows for Twig, it's twit.tv/twig. There's also a This Week in Google YouTube channel if you want to watch the video. You can also download the video. And I think the best way to subscribe, get your favorite podcast player, type in This Week in Google or Twig, and then you, too, will have a copy the minute it's available. Leave us a 5-star review if you would. That'd be nice, too. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on This Week in Google. Bye-bye.
Don't miss All About Android every week. We talk about the latest news, hardware, apps, and now all the developer-y goodness happening in the Android ecosystem. I'm Jason Howell, also joined by Ron Richards, Florence Ion, and our newest co-host on the panel, Wen Tu Dao, who brings her developer chops. Really great stuff. We also invite people from all over the Android ecosystem to talk about this mobile platform we love so much. Join us every Tuesday, All About Android on twit.tv.